Free them
And
all.
we're saying,
Free them all,
Mumia
man.
Abu
We direct
Jamal,
make his particulars to take
Oscar
these.
Grant,
Free them all. And positive energy is everything to us. So again, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Justice for Tyree, you guys see it here. We with the Nichols family and all the others that are out here fighting for justice for all. Okay, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Next in the building, bringing you guys yet another one. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to this live. And so after we ended our live yesterday, then they showed this guy on the screen who is P. Diddy's alleged drug mule. You know, does his transportation or whatever. Well, he got arrested at the airport and he was found with cocaine and marijuana, and he took the charge. He didn't even fight with the people. He took the charge. He's out on bail, and we will find out more developments as that become available. Now, the guy that y'all see with the hat on at the bottom of y'all screen, that's Lil Rod. Okay, so Lil Rod is the one that, you know, he sparked a lot of federal Homeland Security investigation too, along with Cassie, because she set it off. Okay, she let them alarms go off, and baby, I do believe that she will be testifying against Diddy once and if this goes to trial. She will be one of the ones, and Lil Rod, of course, too. So anyway, I got the paperwork, and I want to read it to y'all. It's long, it's lengthy, it's like 73 pages. Okay, I'm gonna share it on my screen with y'all. But before we get started, let me just welcome everybody to the channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to get some information. Let's find out what's happening with this Diddy stuff. Like, we want to be with the movement. We don't want to be behind because we don't know something, because we didn't read something, we didn't do our due diligence. Over here, we cross our T's and we dot our I's. Shout out to Spicy in the building. Appreciate you, Queen. I appreciate your love, your support, and your loyalty to the platform. You know, shout out to you. Tracy Allen said, Diddy, with that big money, he has been doing his thing. Okay, that's what they say. Girl, yes. Spicy and Young Miami is allegedly muling too. Girl, she's muling, she's trafficking. She's doing a whole bunch of a lot of stuff. Like, girl, is it that serious? Like, I mean, what you would do for love is what the question is. What would you do for love? Is you trafficking yourself? Is you muling this drug? I'm just saying, is you dipping? Is you tooting? What's going on? Because to the no, you're not putting nothing on my nose. You're not even about to play with me like that, okay? But see, these girls be so weak-minded. That's why everything that's happening is happening, because it's a mess behind all of this. This ain't just a mess. It's a messy, but it's also a message, okay? And what is the message? So far, young women, if you gotta do all this to be successful, then you might want to reevaluate the success you're trying to get, because it ain't really worth your freedom, your character, your personality, who you are as an individual. You want to stand tall on something or fall for anything. And right now, Miami, you was looking real thirsty, like, you know what I'm saying, and you, in your arrogance, it's gonna catch up with her. She better be careful. She got to be more careful. So anyway, let me share my screen with y'all so y'all can see what I have and what we're gonna be going over. Okay, let me get the screen share is right here. All right, let's share my screen and let's get into this here paperwork. Before I do that, let me clear my screen to just what we looking at. All right, I think we on Chrome. Yes, we are. All right, boom. All right, so as y'all can see, we got like 73 pages. So I'm going to just read through it. I'm trying to get through it as quickly as I can. I'm not going to do too many stops. I do want to read y'all comments. I do want you guys to chime in. I do want to hear from the people, y'all thoughts, y'all opinions, what y'all think about what we're hearing. If y'all see something as I'm saying something, then maybe catch my attention and put something in the chat so I can stop when I'm reading and elaborate on what you guys are hearing and how y'all want to move forward proceeding. If you want to join me, you want to call in, or you want to hit the panelists, let me know what works for you so I can make it work for all of us. And let's talk about it, okay? Um, Let me see. Hers was for money. Yeah, she wanted that bag. Okay, I'm telling you, all money ain't good money. I'm serious. I don't want it. They can have it. I'm fine. Leave me mediocre. Shit. Okay. I got standards. I got morals. I got values. Like I believe in God Almighty. I know He's a way maker. I ain't got to do all that. Don't want it. Remember, her allowance was $250,000, which is $3 million a year. Yeah, so she wanted to get in on the what you call it, the trafficking ring, and she wanted to be the madam or something, or she wanted to be something big, and she wanted her name to be out there, and she yeah. You see how she was talking to Diddy girl? She said, "No, you a eater." Like, girl, and you already acknowledging that this person is an eater, so you already acknowledging, yo, you. I'm just saying, we was to really look at everything. Girl, she going down like Titanic, allegedly. All right, let me see. Pamela says, amen, amen. Praise God for that devil and all his minions is going down. Yes, okay. Girl, I'm so serious, Spicy. Me either, boo. All right, y'all, let's get into this here paperwork. Let me blow this up on my screen for those that need to see it bigger, can have access to it or whatever they need to do. So anyway, hopefully my audio is good. If y'all have any issues with my audio, please let me know so I can make those corrections. I don't want to start reading. Y'all like, I can't hear you. So let me know. Spicy, my girl, Spicy. I know you're going to keep it 100. Is the audio good? Can you hear me? Mic check, mic check. Just want to make sure y'all can hear me as we move forward. Because when I start reading this, I don't want even my audio in the background. My music in the background is too loud. Let me know. I'll turn that down too. But I just didn't want it to be too dull up in here. I want us to have a little something going on or whatever. I'm still working on getting things more equipped for us, and so I can start coming back on camera and doing live interactions with y'all and stuff like that. But we got to crawl before we walk, but we almost there. It won't be long. All right, now I think we good on the audio because I ain't seen nobody complain about it, so I'm just gonna start reading. So this is the United States Federal Court. This is the Southern District of New York, you guys. This is Rodney Jones's complaint. I've already read Cassie's to you guys, so y'all will have to go back and look into my commentary to find it, but I read hers already. Audio is good. Thank you, boo. All right, now this is Rodney Jones versus Sean Combs. Justin, oh, they got the son in there. Justin Dior Combs, Ethiopia, Lucian, Christina, Shally's Records or Recording Studios. They got Love Records, Motown Records, Universal Music Group. Oh, child, I can't even take my breath with this one. Also, what else they got? They got Universal Music Group. They got Combs Global Enterprise. They got John and Jane Doe's 1 through 10 and ABC Corporation's 1 through 10. Woo! I almost couldn't breathe trying to name all them doggone names. Okay, wow, this is an enterprise. This is an enterprise. Okay, now if I ain't never seen an enterprise before, this is an enterprise. This is a RICO. This is the beginning of a RICO. I'm just allegedly, y'all. Allegedly, okay. Oh, I had to drink some water, y'all, because that was really taking me out of my breath. I see you in the building, Papa TY. I see you. What's good with my brother? Hold on, let me see. Spicy said, I'm with you next. They can have that, like, girl, that, like, I'm telling you, I'm okay with just being a local, a local artist here in the Bay Area. Baby, if it don't get no bigger. I can tell you I enjoyed the experience, okay? It was all an experience for me. I got a chance to see the BTS, what they do behind the scenes before the artists go on stage. I'm getting a chance to see a lot of stuff, which is pretty cool, at the minimum. I don't know how they doing it at the maximum. I don't want to know if it's going to bring this type of heat. Okay. So anyway, you guys are gonna see photos because they got a lot of photos and it's so much. So I'm gonna try, like I said, let me get through this. I'm gonna chat with y'all momentarily. So thank y'all so very much. Let me give y'all warnings. Okay, my disclaimers at the bottom. I do not own the rights to this here video, audio, or reporting. I'm just reading the information and giving y'all my own honest opinion separated from the actual facts of what we will read in this here indictment or this here complaint, I should say, excuse me. Also, this is a trigger warning because they said that this document contains highly graphic information of a sexual nature, including SA. Additionally, there are graphic images of the aftermath of a shooting, that redacted images of S intercourse, redacted images of minor S workers, oh, not the minor workers, and prostitutes, details of sex trafficking, and the illegal distribution of guns and drugs. Okay, this is like Guns and Roses. If y'all ever saw that movie, I'm trying to just throw it out there in that way so they don't come messing with the platform. But anyway, let me try to pull this up. All right, here we go. Now that I've given you guys the warnings, okay, prepare yourself. If you are able to listen to this commentary, then stand through it. I've warned you guys. I've given you all my disclaimers. Also ticking at the bottom of this here screener. This is fair act use, okay? But if this becomes too much, please log off. All right, now, plaintiff Rodney Lil Rod Jones, Mr. Jones, hereby alleges as and for his complaint against the defendant Sean Combs and all them people I named that I will not keep naming because there's just too many of them and I'll be out of breath reading their names. Okay, let's see, and all their names, right? Hold on. This is the jurisdiction and the venue. This court has personal jurisdiction over the defendants under and consistent with the constitutional requirements of due process, in that the defendants acting directly or through his agents or apparent agents committee one or more of the following: the transactions of any business with the state, the making of any contracts within the state, the commissions of a torturous act within this district, and the ownership, use, or possession of any real estate in this state. From September 2022, the date of this filing, the defendant have consistently and purposefully availed themselves of the privilege of conducting activities within New York, thus invoking the benefits and protections of New York law. In return for these benefits and protections, the defendant must submit to the burden of litigation in New York. The litigation arises from or relates to the torturous activities the defendant visiting upon excuse me visiting upon defendants in the states of New York, California, Florida, and the United States Virgin Island. Ooh, now they even got some stuff going on overseas, y'all. This torturous conduct violated United States federal RICO law. Oh, I just was talking about this. Let me highlight that. Look at that. RICO laws. OMG, y'all. This is about to get realer. I promise you, it's already unfolding by the second. Requiring defendants to litigate these claims in the district does not offend traditional notions of fair play and substantial justice. Plaintiffs' claim arise from some conduct occurring by the defendants in New York. Okay, now here are the parties. Plaintiff Rodney Jones is an American artist and music producer. Mr. Jones resides in the states of New York and California. The defendant, Sean Combs, is a rapper and record executive, popular known by his stage names Puff Daddy, Puffy, P. Diddy, Brother Love, or Love. Mr. Combs came to fame in the early 1990s with his record label Bad Boy Records. He rose to prominence in the music and entertainment industry over the decades and is regularly referred to as hip hop mogul. Mr. Combs resides at whatever his address is in Beverly Hills. I ain't put it out there, but it's out there. Here's a photo of P. Diddy, y'all. And then they got the defendant, Sean Combs. Okay, so the defendant, Justin Dior Combs, is the son, child. They got the child up there too, y'all. That's why they had him detained like that. at that doggone home where we saw breaking news yesterday, okay? Because he's in this, okay, which we already knew. Um, the son of Mr. Combs and Misa Hilton, Jay Combs, was born on December the 30th, 1993. Jay Combs is a producer and actor. He has appeared on TV series like Catfish, the TV show Wild 'N Out, Hip Hop Squares. The defendant, Justin Dior Combs, resides at 1550 North El Centro Avenue, Los Angeles, California. And I did not mean to say all that, but I did. My bad. Oh well, it is what it is. It's public information is out there. So the defendant, Lucian Charles Grange, is the CEO of the defendant Universal's Music Group. Defendant Lucian Charles Grange, and then we're not gonna go into detail about their addresses, but here he is. Okay, like I said, they got photos, they got all sorts of information and evidence. Like this case is heavy within itself. The defendant, Ethiopia Habert Miriam, is the former CEO of defendant Motown Records, the parent company of defendant Love Records. The defendant Habter Marion resides, and we don't care about their addresses. I don't. And then we have the defendant Christina Coram is the chief of staff of Sean Diddy Combs Global Enterprise. Okay, and then we also have Christina Cora again, and she's the defendant Chalice Recording. Defendant Chalice Recording Studios is a popular recording studio, and that was also in Los Angeles. Okay, and then this is the Chalice. The defendant Motown Records is a record label with a principal place of business. And like I said, these are all the entities that's involved in Universal Studios, along with Love Records, as y'all can see. And they have Combs Global, so y'all see that. And then they have Rodney Lil Rod Jones. And then it says Rodney Lil Rod Jones Jr. is from the Windy City. He's from Chicago. He was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. Mr. Jones is the second oldest son and fourth child of the 9 siblings. Mr. Jones comes from a long line of gospel music influencers. Okay. Mr. Jones started playing instruments at the age of 5. He began playing drums in church. And at the age of 13, he picked up playing the guitar. From 13 to present day, Mr. Jones has taught himself to play over 13 instruments. Okay. And he's a child of God. He was raised in the church, so church not my anointed. I'm just saying. Mr. Jones is considered a musical protege. His talents have led him to produce and create a commercial marketplace for music that has been recorded by some of the most prestigious and highly acclaimed artists in music history. Throughout the duration of his career, Mr. Jones has worked the south side of Chicago music scene, playing with the following legendary greats: Georgia Mass Choir, Donald Lawrence, the Clark Sisters, and the Smoky Norfolk. Okay. On or about August 2022, Mr. Jones received a call from Mr. Combs requesting that he produce several songs on a rhythm and blues album titled The Love Album, Off the Grid Love Album. Mr. Jones agreed, and his life has been detrimentally impacted ever since. This is the summary of events, you guys. Oh, excuse me. From September 2022 to November 2023, Mr. Jones produced 9 songs on Mr. Combs' Love album. Mr. Jones lived with Mr. Combs for a month at a time, spending holidays, birthdays, and missing major family events. Mr. Jones reside at Mr. Combs' residence, which was in Los Angeles, as well as in New York and Miami, Florida. Mr. Jones also spent several weeks on a yacht rented by Mr. Combs in the U.S. Virgin Islands. That's why the Virgin Islands is being brought up all up in this because, because he must have said something happened on over there too. All right, let's see. So throughout his time, Mr. Jones witnessed. Okay, so throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones witnessed, experienced, and endured many things that went far beyond his role as a producer on the Love album. The claim raised in this complaint have been corroborated through witness statements, video, audio recordings, and images that Mr. Jones has in his possession. So let's just take a break for there for a second. So what he is claiming, he has corroborated through witness statement. They have video and audio recordings and images that Mr. Jones had in his possession. Okay, let that ponder into the people who want to support Diddy or not. Just know they have preponderance amounts of information as well as evidence that will corroborate at least Mr. Jones's statements. He has witnesses to corroborate. He has video, audio, and images. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. Mr. Jones required Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to record him constantly on several occasions. Okay, so they saying this is what's being said. P. Diddy was asking Jones to record him constantly on several occasions. Mr. Combs took Mr. Jones' cell phone and began recording himself. So that's how Jones got access, because Puff Daddy allegedly took Jones's cell phone and started recording himself on this man's cell phone. Now, even if that's true, right, and Puff decided to delete everything, he still has access to retrieve those deleted files because it was done on his device. Okay, and I'm talking about Mr. Jones. So he would have access, or the feds can subpoena it, whatever was deleted, and they can retrieve it. So this can be very problematic for Puff Daddy down the road. Okay, I'm just giving y'all my own opinion as I read the facts of what is coming out of Mr. Jones's complaint. Okay, this is his facts, not mine. Okay, now. So he recorded himself. As results, Mr. Jones has secured hundreds of hours of footages and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in. See, here we go right here. As a result of him using that man's phone, Jones was able to secure hundreds of hours of footage, audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, his guests, engaging in serious illegal activity, because Puff Daddy thought he was smart, but the dumbest thing he could have did was picked up somebody else's cell phone and began recording some illegal activity that is now possibly turning into a RICO. Okay, shout out to LaShandria Carter. I see you in the building. Shout out to my guy Gemini Don is in the building, and shout out to Grape T News. Make sure y'all subscribe to Grape T News. Also breaking down great content, commentary. And y'all make sure y'all go over there and subscribe. Turn that bell notification on and select all. Just like when you hit this one over here, you select all and you subscribe. Do the same thing to Grape T News. Okay, shout out to Grape T News and everybody else in the chat. Now, Mr. Jones has secured irrefutable. You hear that? He has secured irrefutable evidence of the acquisitions, use, and distributions of ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms. Okay? Oh, Lord. Oh, just my allergies alone got me sniffling and coughing and hacking. And ooh, I can't imagine doing none of them substances. And I wouldn't advise y'all to do it either, okay? Say no to drugs. The displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal firearms. Ooh, not the legal firearm. So that's terrible too, especially if they find any firearms on that property. Okay? Mr. Combs providing lace. Oh, Lord. Now, what if he got the evidence of them lacing the stuff too, though? Like, you talking never getting out, okay? Laced alcohol beverages to minors, though. And I told y'all this case was all about minors. Yes, most of them are adults now, but if they was ever once a minor when this happened, and if there's any recent cases of any minors, it's over for them, okay? All around the board, okay? Y'all think Kels had the bad end of this thing? Shit. He making Kels' case look like a welfare case right now, but what I'm reading, okay? Beverages to minors and workers at his home in California, New York, and the U.S. Virgin Islands and Florida. And this is all coming from little Rod, okay? And so just think about him using that man's phone and recording all this stuff. And thinking that it got deleted because he deleted it. Probably went to the backup and deleted that too. But that did not take away from it being recorded and monitored on that device when they have subpoenas to get that stuff. Okay. All right, let's check it out. Mr. Combs provided alcohol. Da, da, da. Okay, so Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Christina, instructed her staff to retrieve drugs so she can provide it to Mr. Combs. Oh, see, this is an enterprise now. Now we're talking about criminal activities because we're talking about staff members knowingly and willingly participating in retrieving alleged drugs to be able to pass off to Mr. Combs for his consumption. That's what this is. I'm reading, y'all. I'm not making this up. Mr. Combs' chiefs of staff, Christina Coram, instructing her staff to retrieve drugs so she can provide it to Mr. Combs for his consumption. Christina Combs drugging and assaulting a woman. Oh, she's involved too. Mr. Combs detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes. Oh, they put T.D. Jakes in it. To soften the impact on his public image of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. See, he kept him around long enough for him to get a little bit more and current information, okay? Because now we're talking about T.D. Jakes. We're talking about Cassie Ventura's lawsuit that she just filed, okay? So this brother stayed around a little long just to get more, and that's good on his behalf. All right, so Young Miami, I heard about this one. Young Miami's cousin and or assistant essayed Mr. Jones. Oh, not Mr. Jones, by Young Miami cousin and assistant. Ooh, child. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr., y'all. Harassing and assaulting Mr. Jones. Also, Mr. Cuba did this to him. Child, we got some paperwork. OMG. Whew, okay, I gotta catch my breath to read this stuff. This ain't no joke, y'all. Hold on. My goodness. Rapper redacted on Mr. Combs' yacht consorting with underage girls, S-workers, and R&B singer. They redacted two of these people's names, y'all. They redacted the rapper who on Mr. Combs' yacht consorting with underage girls, S-workers, and R&B singer whom they are not. Let me highlight this so y'all can see. Redacted. You see that? Redacted. They got the rappers redacted and they got an R&B singer, y'all, that's redacted. Who do y'all think the rapper is? Who do y'all think the R&B singer is? If y'all have an inkling of who you think it is, just even if you guess who you think it is, put it in the chat or leave a comment in the comment section if you do not catch this live because baby, we need to know who these people are. It's getting real. Okay. All right, I got my thing charging up. It almost went out on us. Okay, got it. Boom. Ooh, this is getting real, y'all. Okay, now let's talk about Chalice Recording Studio in the shooting that occurred down there. On or about September 12, 2022, Mr. Combs held a writers and producer camp at Chalice Recording Studios in LA. The president at this camp were Mr. Combs, his son Justin, and Justin's friend named G. Mr. G is a 30-year-old tall African American male. So they looking for Mr. G too, y'all, by the way. Okay, hold on, let me see. They looking for Mr. G. He's a 30-year-old tall African American male. They got a description of him, but I don't know. Hold on, let me read. In addition to these individuals, other musicians were present at the camp. This writer has spoken to several musicians who attended the camp. Okay. One evening during this camp, Mr. Combs, J. Combs, and G were in a heated conversation. That conversation was moved out of the studio and into a restroom adjacent to where Mr. Jones was sitting. Mr. Jones was approximately 2 feet away from the bathroom when gunshots rang out. Mr. Jones recalled hearing multiple gunshots. Mr. Jones immediately went into a state of shock and feared that he would be shot next. Mr. Jones genuinely believed that he would be shot through the door due to how close he was. After the shooting ended, a crowd gathered around the restroom. When the door finally opened, Mr. Combs and Jay Combs exited. G was lying on the restroom floor in a fetal position, holding his stomach and bleeding out of his leg hip area. So let's go back because I got to put this back together. Okay, I got to go back up one more time. Hold on, y'all. Okay, so Present at the camp were Mr. Combe, his son Justin Combe friend, whose name is G. So G allegedly was shot. Now let's go back to where we was just at, okay? G was lying on the restroom floor in a fatal position. So that means that Puffy's son and Puffy allegedly, possibly, may have shot G. Okay? And guess who was there as a witness? Mr. Jones. Okay? Rod Jones was there. He saw this stuff with his eyes. Let's keep reading. Everyone stood around looking upon G. Frustrated by the lack of aid to G, Mr. Jones dropped everything, ran to G, and immediately began placing pressure on G's gunshot wounds to his stomach. Okay? As he was applying pressure on his stomach, Mr. Jones realized that G was gushing blood from another area near his leg and hip. He decided to lift G and place him to sit on the toilet. Mr. Jones asked the crowd to call the ambulance. Mr. Jones lifted G and brought him to the ambulance at the studio's front. At this time, Mr. Combs and Justin disappeared to another part of the studio. Mr. Combs gave strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them G was shot standing outside the studio by a drive-by assailant. See, that's how that's how what's his name testifying, y'all. I'm just giving y'all right now. This is how what's his name Lil Rod is coming through. Okay, he not about to play. He trying to send this man up the river. And then G, being that he was Combs' son friend, he fit to send him up the river too, because now he got to come out and tell the truth. Who shot you, man? Okay, in my Biggie Smalls voice, who shot you? Okay, see how them tables turn? You do one thing 1 minute and think you can keep doing the same old. That blueprint don't work. And oh my God, I just was watching a clip of that brunching that Diddy, Jay-Z, Meek Mills, and them all was there. And did y'all hear Diddy's speech, y'all? He said, we in 2020. The game has changed. It ain't like it used to be. You know, things is different. They got to move a little different. Baby, he was giving instructions at that meeting, allegedly. All right, so here is the little article in case y'all didn't get a chance to see it at the time. Okay, hold on, let me try to open up my screen a little bit more. Boom. All right, and it says, man shot outside party at a Hollywood recording studio. Man, this stuff is been going on for far too long, and now it's time that they about to put a lid on it. Diddy done. All right, and then it says, hold on. This is the article, even though we just read the complaint. This is the article. At least one person was shot at a party. Now, my question is, what happened that they shot G? Why they shoot G? Come on, man. What G do? At least one person was shot at a party at a Hollywood recording studio, police said on Monday. Officers were called to the 800 block of North Highland Avenue at Willoughby to check into reports of a shooting at about 3 o'clock in the morning. Y'all didn't shot the man at 3 in the damn morning. Of course, that's that tweaky shit. Okay, that's some drugs be kicking in and start tweaking and shit at 3 o'clock in the morning. I just want to shoot somebody. Like, that's crazy. According to the LAPD, at the location, they found a man had been shot after stepping outside the studio, so they came with a lie. This man in his 30s was taken to a hospital in stable condition. He was reportedly shot in the abdomen. Sky 2 was over the scene earlier on Monday, spotted several people sitting outside the location being questioned by the police. No information was released about the suspect, and it's known if the shooting was gang related. It's not known. The man in his 30s was taken to a hospital in stable condition. He was reportedly shot in the abdomen. Sky 2. Okay. And yeah, so that's pretty much that. Let me see. They don't know if it was, and it's not known if the shooting was gang related. So they would see how they try to, like E40 said this back in the days, let's take the heat to the other side of town, draw the attention on the other side of town, wait for the po-po shift to change, ghetto shooting range, revenge on a rebound, more gang. So what you do is you take the attention on the other side of town. So that's what they was doing. They was taking the attention off of what Puffy and his son had done, and made it appear as if it was some drive-by shooting when that was not the case. Okay, in my Tupac and Snoop Dogg voice, murder was the case that they gave me, right? So, anywho, as we continue to read, I'm just trying to get things adjusted over here. You might be hearing a little things moving around. Don't worry, y'all. Okay. All right. Now, back comfortable again. Whew, this is a lot. So this is gruesome, stuff that y'all seeing here on the screen. So there's a trigger warning. I'm just giving y'all the trigger warning again for y'all that's tuning in. Just be mindful there's a trigger warning. Now, Mr. Jones has the clothing he was wearing that he wore that day and believes it may still have the stains and DNA of G's blood on it. The following are screenshots of the aftermath of the restroom where G was shot by either Mr. Combs or the son of Combs, okay, Justin Combs, okay? Who do y'all think did it? Do you think the daddy shot the friend or you think the friend shot the friend? Okay, put it in the chat if you think it was the daddy. Put it in the chat if you think it was the son, okay? If you don't catch this live, go ahead and leave it in the comment section. Who shot G? Was it his dad? Or did his son do it? Or did they hold the gun together and do it? What the hell? This is crazy, okay? And this man is out here, doing the most. So I think, Diddy, your time is up, sir. Okay, aftermath of the shooting of G. Clearly, G was not shot outside of the studio, obviously, right? As Mr. Combs instructed his team to report to the law enforcement. Mr. Combs and the defendant LR, MR, UMG, and CRS provided private security for the writer's camp and the defendant CRS, okay? The security was porous and lackluster at best. The fact that either Mr. Combs and J. Combs were allowed to enter CRS with guns, okay, and those guns were not confiscated by security is a clear breach of duty by Mr. Combs, the defendant, LR, MR, and UMG to protect Mr. Jones and the other attendees of this writer's camp. As a result of this shooting, Mr. Jones is severely traumatized by Mr. Jones now suffers from PTSD, severe anxiety, depression, and insomnia. Okay? And I would agree. I would have all that too. Shit. Seeing all that and being a part of that, oh my God, my nerves would be all shot. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I would need a sedative. Okay? Just thinking about it. Somebody pass me a sedative. Now, Mr. Jones was esserly harassed and assaulted by Mr. Combs. Throughout his time living with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was the victim of constant, unsolicited, and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Mr. Combs. What did you keep your damn hands to yourself? What's wrong with him? Damn freak. Okay. These events took place in LA, NY, FL, and the United States Virgin Islands. In addition to the unsolicited and unauthorized touching, Mr. Jones was forced by Mr. Combs to work in Mr. Combs' bathroom as Mr. Combs walked around naked and showered in a clear glass enclosure. That is just disgusting. Don't nobody want to see all that. It don't even look like a sight to see at this age. Come on now, you're not 20, dude. As a heterosexual Christian man, okay, Mr. Jones is a heterosexual Christian man. You can't be doing that to God's people. We all ain't sinners. We are not all sinners. We're not all sinners, okay? I'm not gonna let y'all play me like I'm a sinner. I'm a saint. I don't know about y'all. I'm a saint. All right, I'm a heterosexual woman, and I'm a Christian. Anyway, Mr. Jones was uncomfortable with me. I bet he was. Making all them damn advances and shit. What the fuck is going on with this man? What's going on? I cannot. All right, as a heterosexual Christian man. Oh, Jesus, help me with the read. Help me remove me, Father God. Decrease me and increase me of you right now. I need you, Lord. Mr. Jones was uncomfortable. Well, I bet he was. I can't get past that part, y'all. With Mr. Combs' advances and expressed his discomfort to he done took the discomfort to another level. he done told one staff, he done told the chief of staff, Christina, the same Christina who's also named in this mess for going to get that man drugs. So he done told it to another criminal. Lord, he couldn't win for losing in this motherfucking camp. No way out. Oh my God, in my Malcolm X voice, get your head out of my pocket, nigga. All right, y'all, let me see. Where else I at? All right, so, excuse me, y'all. Christina responded to Mr. Jones's complaint with, Sean will be Sean. What? What you mean? He will be him. Bitch, and I will be me. You going down. What is you talking about? Anyway, that wasn't nothing. KK also attempted to downplay Mr. Combs' groping of Mr. Jones, his anus, his genital area, as friendly horseplay. Stating that those acts were Mr. Combs' way of showing that he likes you, baby. If you gotta like me by touching on me, don't like me. Okay, I'm gonna make sure you hate me. Do not like me if you gotta put your nasty fingers all on me, touching places that you do not have permission to touch. Okay, you get your hand broke for that. Anywho, despite these assurances on several occasions when Mr. Combs began to undress and walk around his house naked, KK would say, okay, I am leaving now. And she would disappear. So you gonna get up out of there like, pew, and leave this naked, groping, finger touching body parts he ain't got permission to touch on alone with Joe. I can't take this shit. Goodness gracious. I can't get through this reading, y'all. This is hard for me. Imagine what they went through. So if it's hard to read, imagine going through. Okay, let's continue. Let me finish. Oh my God. All right. So despite the assurance on every level, okay, like I said, she left. She's okay. I'm leaving now, and she would disappear. KK hypocrisy is breathtaking at best, or enabling at worst. Mr. Jones believes that KK aided and abetted Mr. Combs' sexual assault of him and was working with Mr. Combs to groom him into accepting a homosexual relationship. Through these sexually deviant acts, one would say Mr. Combs has a pattern and practice of engaging in such nefarious activity. This ongoing conduct shows that Mr. Combs cannot be rehabilitated. Ooh, they taking rehabilitation out of his sentence. Okay, they giving him life. All right, Mr. Combs attempted to groom Mr. Jones into engaging into gay sex. All right, Mr. Combs was aware that Mr. Jones looked up to and idolized music producer Stephen Aaron Jordan, Stevie J. Okay, Stevie J in this too. He looked like he would it. Stevie J is an American DJ, record producer, and television personality. Stevie J was part of the Bad Boy Records production team, The Hitman, right? In 1997, Stevie J won a Grammy Award for his work on Puff Daddy's debut album. Throughout the late 1990s, Stevie J produced several artists, including Mariah Carey, Tevin Campbell, the Notorious B.I.G., which I did not know, 112, Jodeci, Faith Evans, Jay-Z, and Eve. Wow, okay. He produced them people. I didn't know that. Now, Stevie J was one of the producers of the Love album, even the latest album, okay? Wow, I didn't know that either. What is this? Make sure I can show this because a lot of this stuff is hard to see. Mr. Combs used access to Stevie J and his knowledge of Mr. Jones' admiration of Stevie J to groom and entice Mr. Jones to engage in homosexuality stuff, y'all. Okay? Mr. Combs went so far as to sharing a video of Stevie J blankly penetrating a Caucasian man without a plastic bag. Okay? He did not use the plastic bag, and this was in the backside. Okay? This was done to ease Mr. Jones' anxiety concerning homosexuality, according to Mr. Combs. This is normal practice in the music industry. Look, even Stevie J is doing it. Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in intercourse with rapper. They redacted this rapper's name, and I think they might be trying to say Meek Mills, allegedly, because everybody's speaking of Meek Mills, honey. And that audio that I didn't heard, it just sound like bang, bang, bang. Okay, my goodness. R&B singer, which they redacted that person too. Who is they talking about, y'all? And Stevie J. Mr. Combs promised to make sure that Mr. Jones was produced. Hold on, and lost my spot. Okay, Mr. Jones was producer of the year at the Grammys if he engaged in the sexuality that they were trying to get him to engage in, homo, right? The following are screenshots of the video of Stevie J blankly backsiding, penetrating a Caucasian man that Mr. Combs provided to Mr. Jones. So now we can see some of it, and it's, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. Ooh, I'm trying to hurry up and scroll through. I don't want this stuff. Wow. Okay. So, this is the Thanksgiving 2022. Mr. Jones is assaulted by young Miami's cousin. So here, let's get into the reading of what went down allegedly. But in his account, it's factual. Okay, until it's played out in court. But let's get into this, y'all. Whew, I'm getting hot up in here. This is a lot. I'm gonna take off my jacket because my Lord have mercy. What is I'm reading? Don't send me nothing else, y'all. Don't send me nothing else. Okay? This is a lot. I can't breathe. Okay, so Thanksgiving 2022. On Thanksgiving Day 2022, Mr. Jones was in Mr. Combs' house located in Miami, Florida. Young Miami and her female cousin were also present. Okay? That's why they broke into that home, searched that home, okay, in Miami, for sure. Okay? Mr. Combs was intoxicated and offered white substance products to Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones rejected him and proceeded to walk to the restroom, y'all. While using the restroom, young Miami's cousin burst into the bathroom and began groping Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones believed that Mr. Combs sent her in there to SA Mr. Jones. As he entered the bathroom, she dropped to her knees and began to perform fellatio on Mr. Jones, exposed, just peed in the potty, Peter Piper, pick the pecker peppers. Okay, Mr. Jones pushed her away and exited the bathroom. Young Miami's cousin did not accept Mr. Jones' rejection as she proceeded to follow Mr. Jones out of the bathroom. She started undressing and attempted to straddle him and have bloomty-woomp with him in the presence of Mr. Combs and his staff. Once again, Mr. Jones pushed her off. The following are images from the video of Young Miami's, her cousin, Mr. Jones, and Mr. Combs. Okay, so this is the cousin in him. We see it. Okay, they got a paper trail of preponderous information that appears to look his way until it plays out in court, but it's looking like he got some evidence. Okay. So, Mr. Jones and Mr. Combs on Thanksgiving Day, right before Mr. Combs invites Mr. Jones into the restrooms and attempts to force him to take the white substance powdery, young Miami and her female cousin who blank assaulted Mr. Jones on Thanksgiving Day. This is her and her cousin, so you get a visual what that cousin is looking like. Okay, Trafficking and Victims Protection Act. Now we get to go into the act now, y'all. Okay, so throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was transported from California to New York, Florida, and the United States Virgin Islands. During this time, Mr. Jones was forced to solicit S workers and perform S acts to the pleasure of Mr. Combs. On or about February 4, 2023, Mr. Combs forced Mr. Jones to bring prostitutes and S workers back to his home in Miami, Florida. And these are some images, y'all, that they redacted. The S workers that Mr. Combs forced Mr. Jones to bring back to his home. On or about February 2, 2023 incident, Mr. Jones believes Mr. Combs drugged him. Mr. Jones recalls waking up naked, dizzy, and confused. He was in bed with two S workers and Mr. Combs. He also recalls aimlessly wandering around the house with no clothes on, and I guess these are the images of him, in his t-shirt and looks like boxers. But then again, somebody got slides on, so I don't know if that's him or not. But anyway, wow. I don't know what I'm looking at there. Okay, so S workers in Mr. Jones's bed the morning after. Oh, that's what we saw. This is the workers in his bed along with Diddy. That's what they said, right? On another occasion in Miami, Florida, on Thanksgiving night of 2022, Mr. Combs asked Mr. Jones and DeForest Taylor to enter the studio bathroom. He asked them for $100 bill because he wanted them to do slow slang with them, right? Slow slang is the white substance powder. Okay, I'm trying to rename some of this stuff. Just reading between the lines, y'all. Mr. Jones was scared, but luckily he didn't have $100 bill. So Mr. Combs waited a little later to do Coca-Cola sodas with Young Miami. Ooh, wee. Later that evening, he required Mr. Jones to solicit S workers from Bobby Trap on the river located in Miami, Florida. Mr. Jones did so, and Mr. Combs forced him to engage in unsolicited S acts with these workers, okay? And so he's showing the trap spot or whatever this is at, okay? Um, booby trap on the river. That's what that is. Okay. Hold on. I want to put all that up in there just yet. Hold on. So, as part of Mr. Jones' S worker recruitment tools, Mr. Combs provided Mr. Jones with an exclusive bad boy baseball cap and required him to wear it to booby trap on the river as a signal to any S worker he approached that Mr. Combs was in town and had sent Mr. Jones to recruit them. So the way that they're saying his recruitment was, he gave them a hat that said exclusive hat that said bad boy on the hat. So the workers would know that Bad Boys was out there and was looking for a bad boy, allegedly. Okay? So that's how they was recruiting. Mr. Jones had no desire to visit Booby Trap on the river. Mr. Jones had no desire to solicit S workers from Booby Trap on the river. Mr. Jones used his power and influence to intimidate and enforce Mr. Jones into soliciting S workers from Booby Trap on the river. As detailed below, Mr. Combs used many tactics to maintain dominion and control of Mr. Jones. Apparently, these workers were accustomed to servicing Mr. Combs and would know that he is in town by the sight of the bad boy baseball cap. Didn't I just tell y'all that without reading it? First time reading this, y'all, and I'm already putting it together. The following are Instagram profiles of two S workers with Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to solicit and have S with at his home in Miami, Florida. Ooh, so this stuff is going down. I'm trying to scroll through that. I don't want that up on the screen like that. Okay. Mr. Jones had no desire to solicit and or have S with the individuals in the previous paragraph. Mr. Combs used his power and influence to intimidate and force Mr. Jones into soliciting and sleeping with these women. The following is the following is the phone number of another S worker that Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to solicit and perform S acts with at his home in Miami, Florida. And see, the fact that he got their numbers in his phone, and what if the people who numbers that he has in his phone is cooperative and corroborating Mr. Jones's claim? Maybe they see a way to get paid for participating without going to jail and working with the authorities, allegedly. I'm just saying, because, baby, he got witnesses. So obviously it's some of these people is what I'm assuming. I almost guarantee I'm right. Mr. Jones had no desire to solicit and have S with the individuals in the previous paragraph. Mr. Combs used his power and influence to intimidate and force Mr. Jones into soliciting and sleeping with the individuals above. Mr. Combs used many tactics to maintain dominion and control of Mr. Jones. He promised him a Grammy for Producer of the Year for the Love album. He offered him $250,000 to purchase all the instruments he wanted. He promised him ownership of his $20 million property. iStar Island in Miami, Florida. He promised access to record label executives like defendants Lucian Charles Grange and Ethiopia Habertamariam. Mr. Combs would often switch up his approach. He would go from promising Mr. Jones the world to threatening Mr. Jones with physical harm. Mr. Combs threatened to eat Mr. Jones' face and inform Mr. Jones that he is willing to unalive his mother, Janice Combs, if he must, in order to get what he wants. So he wouldn't think twice to harm Mr. Jones. Wow, that's some serious accusation about taking his own mama out. Mama Combs, is you listening to this? What your son, what he won't do for money and fame? Honey, he was willing to sell you and sacrifice you, boo, allegedly. Anyway, Mr. Combs and Jay Combs solicit drugs and engages in illicit sex acts with minors as workers, right? On or about July 2nd, 2023, in California, Mr. Combs had a listening party, y'all, at his home. Present at this party was R&B artist, who they redacted that person's name, Jay Combs, S workers, and some underage girls. This is as early as last year, y'all. July 2nd, 2023, there was alleged underage girls there, okay? That's why the feds came like they came, because it's alleged underage girls was in there. The event began at 7 p.m. Mr. Combs requested female S workers and required Mr. Jones to solicit them. An hour later, several S workers appeared. In addition to S workers, there were at least 5 women in the crowd that were under the age of 16. Wow. Mr. Combs forced all the women to drink laced DeLeon liquor. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs laced the liquor with ecstasy. Mr. Combs did not check the identifications of any of these underage girls. The presence of these underage women made Mr. Jones very uncomfortable. He attempted to leave, and Mr. Combs forced him to stay. Mr. Combs went so far as to take Mr. Jones' car keys to prevent him from leaving. After being forced to drink laced DeLeon shots, Mr. Jones began feeling lightheaded and recalls passing out and waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. The following morning, naked with the S worker sleeping next to him. Screenshots of a video from the night is embedded below. Here it goes, y'all. I'm talking about he got evidence. This is Justin Combs with the underage female. And you can actually look in this little thing. She looks young from where I'm looking at. But I can't tell you her age by looking at her. But she looks young. I'll say that much. I'm not going to go as far as she's underage. I don't know her age. Mr. Combs attempts to pass Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. Oh, wait, this is hot. Y'all get those likes up if y'all is tuned into this live as I am reading the documents. We're going to try to get to this entirety. We're on 21 of 73, so we got a little ways to go. So y'all make sure y'all get comfortable and enjoy this here reading. And please leave your comments in the comment section along the way so you don't forget what you would have said at the time I was reading, okay? Now, Mr. Combs attempts to pass off Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr., y'all. Mr. Jones believes that Mr. Combs was grooming him to pass him off to his friends. This fear became reality when Mr. Combs introduced Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. while they were on Mr. Combs' yacht. During the introduction, Mr. Combs suggested that Cuba get to know Mr. Jones better. He then left them alone in a makeshift studio on the yacht. Uh-oh. And he got photos of this mess. Mr. Combs and Cuba Gooding Jr. moments before Mr. Jones is I can't even say the word, y'all. But you know what sounds like salty, okay? Or salted, okay? As evidenced by a video of which screenshots are embedded below, Cuba Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones' legs, his upper inner thighs, near his groin, the small of his back, near his buttocks, and his shoulders. Not you too, Cuba. They got you, Cuba. Mr. Jones was extremely uncomfortable and proceeded to lean away from Mr. Gooding Jr. He rejected his advances. Mr. Gooding Jr. did not stop until Mr. Jones forcefully pushed him away. The following is a screenshot of the encounter with Cuba Gooding Jr., y'all. This is him and him. That's Cuba, and that's him. He was a heavy dude too. He's just smiling stuff. He don't want to be felt like he don't want to feel funny like that. Mm. All right, y'all. The Love album. Okay. Throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was under an implied work for hire agreement. He was not compensated for his time living with Mr. Combs or for the songs he produced. As evidence, he was listed as a producer for the following songs on the Love album's final release: "Deliver Me," "Stay Part 1," "Reaching," "Was Love," "Stay a While," "Moments Need Somebody," "Homecoming," and "Tough Love." Mr. Combs and the defendants LRMRUMG all benefited from Mr. Jones' work products. Okay, this is how they be stealing good producers' work. Okay, they showing a lot of stuff in all of this too. This is a lot of exposure, by the way. Okay, so they have benefited from Mr. Jones, his work. As a result, Mr. Combs and the defendants LRMRUMG were all unjustly enriched at the expenses of Mr. Jones. Okay, so they basically played in his face. Mr. Jones attempted to work with Mr. Combs to secure his publishing and royalty rights for the work he completed on the Love album. Mr. Combs only offered Mr. Jones $29,000. That sounds about what he gave Mace. A little less. I think Mace got 20,000. He was giving up 9,000 more now. Okay, for 13 months, thousands of hours of work and 9 songs that made it to the Love album. Ironically, Mr. Jones was willing to take $50,000. His publishing and royalties. I think that's 50,000. Yeah, that is. His publishing royalties. Mr. Combs' self-serving greed would not allow him to pay Mr. Jones an additional $21,000. Wow, he didn't want to get him in $50,000 for all the work that he credited and got nominated for and stuff like that. That's crazy. Mr. Combs' deceptive business practice became so bad that Mr. Jones was left with no choice other than to make a public plea on social media for Mr. Combs to pay him for his work. After publicly requesting that Mr. Combs do the right thing and pay him fairly, Mr. Jones received an onslaught of threatening messages from Stevie J, Love Records, A&R, D. Forrest Taylor. Okay, and he's showing those threats right here, y'all. Let's blow this up. See if I can blow it up. I know I can't see. I don't know why it's not letting me. Okay, let me just see what I can see. I see you playing. I'm in the studio. I can't see that one. Something about talk. Laugh out loud. You 100% liar and a weirdo. Good luck. Number still same. Run no ninja. Come talk to me in public on a public podcast and forum. And that's pretty much what I'm able to read out of that. Let's see. Mr. Combs used his power and influence to threaten and intimidate Mr. Jones. According to Mr. And this is how Stevie J is going to play into this too. So they're going to come talk to Stevie J. They coming to talk to Love Records, A&R, D. Forrest Taylor. The feds is watching all them characters right now. Okay, in my own opinion, they watching them, monitoring their movements. So the heat is on, y'all. The heat is on. Mr. Combs used his power and influence to threaten and intimidate Mr. Jones. According to Mr. Jones, Mr. Combs is very forceful and demanding. Mr. Combs does not take no for an answer and would often threaten to inflict bodily harm on Mr. Jones if Mr. Jones did not comply with his demands. As detailed above, Mr. Combs threatened to eat Mr. Jones' face. Damn, some Jeffrey Dahmer type stuff, right? On another occasion, while standing in Mr. Combs' bedroom, Mr. Jones was forced to watch as Mr. Combs displayed his guns and bragged about getting away with shooting people. Mr. Combs shared that he was responsible for the shooting in the nightclub in New York City with rapper Shine. Okay, and here it goes right here. Diddy, former bodyguard, accused the rapper snitching on Shine over 1999 shooting. Okay, he shared that artist and Mr. Combs' girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, aka J-Lo, carried the gun into the club for him and passed him the gun after he got into an altercation with another individual. Oh, they did put J-Lo in here showing how much Jenny from the block really get down, and her name is more than just Jenny from the block. She with the Glock, y'all. Okay? Sean Combs, Jennifer Lopez arrested after the New York shooting. I remember that article. That's crazy. The shooting in Chalice Recording Studios confirmed Mr. Combs' statement. These statements reinforce Mr. Jones' fear of Mr. Combs and strengthening Mr. Combs' dominion and control of Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones was terrified of Mr. Combs. He felt like he would not tell him no. Mr. Combs constantly made it clear that he has immense power in the music industry and with law enforcement. Mr. Combs made it clear that his head of security, Fahim Muhammad had the power to make people and problems disappear. And they didn't put the man po face up there. Lord have mercy. Okay. Mr. Combs instructed his staff to always contact Mr. Muhammad if they are ever pulled over by the police in Miami or in California. Upon information and belief, Mr. Muhammad spoke with the LAPD after G was shot at CRS. The LAPD was in CRS and witnessed the blood in the bathroom, and they went with the bogus claim that the shooting of G occurred outside of the studio. This was all thanks to Mr. Muhammad's connection within law enforcement. Okay, see how the entanglement is all up. Everybody is involved. This is a big RICO, though. Honestly, this is really, they have a whole enterprise of people that was willing to do these illegal and criminal activities. So that's what makes this, to me, RICO would stick in this particular case. Okay, let me see. Mr. Jones had no reason to disbelieve Mr. Combs, as he had seen firsthand through shooting of G and the subsequent silence of the LAPD and the media that Combs indeed had the power to harm him. My. Let's see. The LAPD spent hours in CRS after shooting of G, yet there were no arrests. Mr. Jones witnessed the LAPD in the restroom picture above, yet no arrests were made. The morning after the shooting, Mr. Jones and several others arrived at CRS, and G's blood was still on the floor in the restroom, and Mr. Combs hired a cleaning crew to clean it up. Defendants Ethiopia, Habert Tamarium, Lucian, Charges Grange, Motown Records, Love Records, and Universal Group, Music Group aided, abetted, and profited off of Sean Combs' RICO enterprise. They're calling it a RICO. According to Mr. Jones, whenever the defendant Grange visited Mr. Combs at his home, it would be in the evening, and he and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours in Mr. Combs' bedroom. Defendant Grange sponsored and attended several Love album listening parties at Mr. Combs' home in LA, California. These parties were sponsored by the defendant MR, LR, and UMG. As evidence above, these parties had S-workers and underage girls present. Okay? And this is another reason why they went to LA, California home at the same time they did that Florida one, is because of these alleged underage S-workers. Okay? Girls present. During these parties, the defendant Grange knew or should have known that Mr. Combs was drugging the attendees through laced bottles of De Leon tequila and Ciroc vodka. It is no secret that Mr. Combs had specific bottles of alcohol designated for females and other bottles designated for his staff, his artists, and himself. This fact was detailed by former artists and bodyguards of Mr. Combs. As a sponsor of these events, defendants Grange had a duty and obligation to ensure the S-workers and underage girls were not present, and that Mr. Combs was not spiking the alcohol with date or drugs. Okay, on YouTube channel The Art of Dialogue, former bodyguard Gene Deal exposed Mr. Combs' pill mixing method used to spike cranberry juice and orange juice. According to Mr. Deal, Mr. Combs would place ecstasy and other date R drugs in the juices. On YouTube, The Art of Dialogue, former artist Mark Curry exposed Mr. Combs spiking bottles of Moet champagne in the VIP section of the nightclubs. Mr. Combs would have a seat of Moet champagne bottles for his artists and a set for women. Okay. This writer has spoken with several former employees of Mr. Combs who witnessed the defendant Coran instruct her staff to lace champagne, De Leon, and Ciroc liquor bottles with ecstasy and other illicit drugs. Mr. Jones recalls seeing defendant Miriam visiting Mr. Combs' home in Miami, Florida, and LA, California. According to Mr. Jones, whenever the defendant Miriam visited Mr. Combs at his homes, it would be in the evening, and she and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours in Mr. Combs' bedroom. According to Mr. Jones, the defendant's Miriam visited Mr. Combs at defendant CRS during Mr. Combs' writing camp. Defendant Miriam sponsored and attended several Love album listening parties at Mr. Combs' house. Home in Los Angeles, California. These parties were sponsored by the defendant MR, LR, and UMG. As evidence above, these parties had S-workers and underage girls present. During these parties, the defendant Miriam knew or should have known that Mr. Combs was drugging the attendees through laced bottles of De Leon, tequila, and Ciroc vodka. As a sponsor of these events, the defendant, Miriam, had a duty and obligation to ensure that S-workers and underage girls were not present and that Mr. Combs was not spiking the alcohol with date R drugs. Okay, here is the defendant Christina Coram, the Ghislaine Maxwell to Sean Combs, is what they're comparing her to, okay? So they're comparing Jeffrey Epstein and Giselle with Sean and this lady named Christina, okay? According to Mr. Jones, during the 13 months he lived and traveled with Mr. Combs, he witnessed Mr. Combs display and distribute guns from his bedroom closet in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, to questionable individuals dressed in all black. So that's what they also possibly was looking for as well, was some guns, okay, in these homes. Specifically guns, of course, drugs, and any other devices that could corroborate any of these here claims. But reading this is giving me a better understanding as to exactly what they were looking for, okay? Now, let's continue. According to Mr. Jones, during the 13 months he lived and traveled with Mr. Combs, he witnessed defendant's Coran openly order her assistants to keep Mr. Combs high off gummies and pills. The defendant Coran required all employees, from the butler, the chef of the housekeepers, to walk around with a pouch, a fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy, marijuana gummies, 100 to 250 milligrams each, and Tucci, a pink drug that is a combination of ecstasy and cocaine. Okay, I'm just trying to hurry up and scroll on up. We don't need to be promoting all that. Okay, so it was important to the defendant, Coran, to have Mr. Combs' drug of choice immediately ready when he asked for it. The defendant Karam ordered S-workers and prostitutes for Mr. Combs. The defendant Karam ordered and distributed ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms to Mr. Combs and his celebrity guests who were present on his rented yacht and in his home in LA, NYC, and Miami. On multiple occasions, the defendant Karam forced Mr. Jones to carry Mr. Combs' drug pouch against his will. Okay, this is how Jones got involved. He was forced to hold things without his will, right? As the chief of staff, the defendant Karam, as instrumental in organizing and executing the RICO enterprise, the defendant Karam had the following individuals execute the following talks for the RICO enterprise. So Stevie J recruits S-workers and attend and participates in freak-offs. Justin Combs, he would solicit prostitutes, underage girls, and S-workers would engage in freak-offs. The sun going down too, y'all. Stevie J going down the son. Whoever Brendan Paul is, his role was to work as Mr. Combs' mule. He required and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and guns. And we probably saw some of that while he was just recently arrested at the airport, you guys, okay? When Puffy was outside the airport pacing back and forth, he was pacing back and forth because he was waiting on his mule to come out with his stuff, but the mule got stopped at the airport, in the airport, because in my opinion, somebody dropped the dime. Okay? They was shutting the operation down that day. They was tired and they was over it, and he's going down. He's still playing with these people. All right, so you got Frankie Stella works alongside Brendan, okay? While Brendan acquires and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and guns, Frankie carries the money and pays for the guns and the drugs. Because if you remember, or if y'all follow Kel's case, remember Don Russell said, you don't want to get caught with everything. So somebody got to carry this while somebody carries that. Almost the same blueprint a little bit when I think about it, because I guess they were saying Keith was the money man and Don was the man who was taking on Kel's masters and all his stuff, and he couldn't have them both, so somebody had to have one, to go with the other. So if they both get caught, both don't get messed up. That's what I heard in that case. But anyway, back to this one. So Moy Bond hires the S workers, attends and participates in the freak-offs. Then you got Moy Bond Thanksgiving 2022 when Mr. Combs offered Mr. Jones the cocaine, y'all. Mr. Combs funded and used his affiliation with local gangs and gang leaders who would frequent his homes in LA and Miami to secure the drugs and guns he obtained and distributed out of his homes in LA and Miami. And again, that's why they did that breaking news, y'all. They had to raid them homes because they was looking for them guns, and drugs in LA and Miami at the same time, because this is what Lil Rod told, or Lil whatever his name is. All right, so the defendant executed their RICO enterprise with threats of violence, threatening to eat plaintiff's face, displaying and distributing guns in plaintiff's presence, bragging about having law enforcement under control, bragging about unaliving people, and bragging about bribing witnesses and jurors in the criminal case concerning the 1999 NYC nightclub shootings with Shine. The defendants executed their RICO enterprise with threats of isolation from the music and entertainment industry, parading powerful music industry executives such as the defendants Lucian, Charles Grange, Ethiopia, at his parties filled with S-workers, minors, and illegal drugs such as ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms. Defendants executed their RICO enterprise with threats of non-payment for work completed, fake promises of cash payments, $250,000, Producer of the Year, Grammy Awards, and guaranteed access to future projects and a $20 million home on Star Island in Miami. Now, my only issue I have with Lil Rod is you was willing to do all of these things as long as you got the Producer of the Year, some type of Grammy out of it, and what you wanted out of it. And when you didn't get what you wanted out of it, you flipped and you are now turned state, federal government witness. And that's your prerogative. I'm just saying, what I noticed is y'all people be willing to do all this stuff, commit these heinous acts, crimes, participate in the unbelievable things that's inhumane, and y'all willing to do these things for the come up, but when you don't get the promise, now everybody go down. Okay, it's usually how it goes. So best to do dirt by yourself, because you don't want to do it with others, because it just seems to not be worth it. Okay, I'm not doing nothing, no dirt with nobody. I'm not telling on myself. Y'all gonna have to prove it. All right, let's get into Mr. Combs is allowed to wreak havoc. Okay? While living and traveling with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones discovered that Mr. Combs had hidden cameras in every room of his home. Mr. Jones believes that Mr. Combs has recordings of defendants Lucian, Charles Grain, Ethiopia, as well as other celebrities, music label executives, politicians, and athletes. Upon information and belief, these individuals were recorded without their knowledge and consent. And is the case with the homosexual S tapes of Stevie J that Mr. Combs provided to Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones possesses compromising footages of every person that has attended his freak off parties and his house parties. Upon information and belief, due to this treasure trove of evidence, he has in his possession. Mr. Combs believes that he is above the law and is untouchable. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs employs Jose Cruz and his IT director. This writer has spoken to several former employees of Mr. Combs who's confirmed that Jose Cruz is the gatekeeper to all Mr. Combs recordings. Upon information and belief, Jose Cruz intentionally hides behind the camera and from social media and the internet due to all of the incriminating acts he was required to record for Mr. Combs, and got the man's phone number under Jose Puff Tech Guy Cali. Okay, so he got a lot of evidence, y'all. Just FYI. First cause of action. So let's get into the first cause of action. Let's get into the conduct and participation in RICO enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, violations of Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, codified at 18 U.S.C. 1962 A.C.D. against the defendants Lucian, Charles Grange, Ethiopia, Sean Combs, Justin Combs, Christina Caron, Combs Global, Motown Records, Love Records, and Universal Music Group. Mr. Jones incorporates by reference all preceding paragraphs and re-alleges them as if set forth fully herein. As respondent superior, defendants Lucian, Charles Grange, Ethiopia, and all the people I named, Universal Group, Love Records, and all that, the respondent superior collective are 100% liable for the actions of Sean Combs, Justin Combs, Christina Caron, as they were acting in their capacities as the respondent superior collective employees when they committed the acts detailed below. The respondent superior collective failed to adequately monitor, warn, or supervise the acts of Sean Combs, Justin Combs, and Christina Caron. Defendants are individuals and or entities within the meaning of persons as defined in 18 U.S.C. 1961-3 because each is capable of holding and does hold a legal or beneficial interest in property. The association is composed of Lucian, Charles Grange, Ethiopia, Haberter Mariam, Sean Combs, Justin Combs, Christina Caron. Combs, Global, Motown Records, Love Records, Universal Music Group, John and Jane Doe's 1 through 10, and ABC Corporations 1 through 10. Section 1962A makes it unlawful for any person who receives any income derived directly or indirectly from a pattern of racketeering activities or through a collection of an unlawful debt in which such person has participated as a principal within the meaning of Section 2, Title 18 United States Code to use or invest directly or indirectly any part of such income of the proceeds of such income in the acquisitions of any interest in or the establishment of operations of any enterprise which is engaged in or the activities of which affect interstate and foreign commerce, 18 U.S.C. 1962A. Section 1962C makes it unlawful for any person employed by a or associated with any enterprise engaged in or the activities of which affect interstate and foreign commerce to conduct or participate directly or indirectly in the conduct of such enterprise affairs through a pattern of racketeering activity, 18 U.S.C. 1962C. All right, Section 1962D makes it unlawful for any person to conspire to violate Section 1962A and C, among other provisions, 18 U.S.C. 1962D. The defendants are associated with each other as an enterprise within the meaning of enterprise as defined in 18 U.S.C. 1961 4, the defendants have unlawfully increased their profits by luring and deceiving producers, musicians, writers, creators, and artists, such as plaintiffs, to transport drug, ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushroom, transport firearms, solicit minors, exotic dancers, workers, and to utilize their talents and labor to produce music and other tangible goods and services without compensation. So this could also turn into forced labor too. Is what I'm getting out of this. Okay, so the RICO enterprise, which all defendants have engaged in activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, is comprised of an association, in fact, of person, including each defendant and other unnamed co-conspirators. That association, in fact, was structured by various contracts and non-contractual relationships between the defendant, by which the defendant assumes different roles in agreeing to carry out a mail and wire fraud scheme to acquire drug, firearm, prostitution, minors, workers, and the labor of producers, musicians, writers, creators, and artists, such as plaintiffs, to utilize their talents and labors to produce music and other tangible goods and services without compensation. The members of the RICO enterprise all share a common purpose: to enrich. Okay, this is to get rich, y'all. To enrich themselves financially and sexually at the expense of producers, musicians, writers, creators, and artists by maximizing the defendants' revenues through fraudulent means as set forth herein. Defendants benefited financially from their scheme to defraud plaintiff by intimidating plaintiff with threats of violence, threatening to eat plaintiff's face, displaying and distributing gun in plaintiff's presence, bragging about having law enforcement under control, bragging about unaliving people, and bragging about bribing witnesses and jurors in the criminal cases concerning the 1999 NYC nightclub shooting with Shine, threats of isolation from the music and entertainment industry, parading powerful music industry executives such as defendants Lucian Charles Grange, Ethiopia, as his parties filled with workers, minors, and illegal drugs such as ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms, threats of non-payment for work completed, fake promises of cash payments, $250,000, producer of the year, Grammy Award, and guarantee access to future projects, a $20 million home on Star Island in Miami, which defendants would not have done but for the existence of the scheme. 183, the members of the RICO enterprise all share a common purpose: to enrich themselves financially and sexually at the expenses of these producers, and all the stuff that I have read. Upon information and belief of this RICO enterprise has existed for at least 20 years, dating back to 1999 club shooting in New York City, where Mr. Combs required his then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez to transport his illegal firearm into the New York City nightclub. Mr. Combs forced his then artist Shine to assume responsibility for the shooting of several individuals. Mr. Combs used his power, money, and influence to bribe jurors and witnesses, such as the friend of the shooting victim, Natanya Rubin, who reported to law enforcement that she saw Mr. Combs and not Shine pull the trigger and shoot her friend in the face. Natanya Rubin later testified in Mr. Combs' criminal trial that she was tying her shoe and may not have seen who shot the gun. She later confessed that Mr. Combs paid her. The RICO enterprise continued throughout the years, including during Mr. Combs' 10-year relationship with his girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. According to Mr. Ventura's civil complaint, this RICO enterprise continued in her relationship with Mr. Combs, forced her to carry his gun in her purse, forced her to engage in unwanted acts with male prostitute workers, forced her to consume dangerous amounts of ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and alcohol, and paying a member of his security team $5,000 to blow up the vehicle of Kid Cudi because he was jealous and insecure of their relationship. The RICO enterprise continued from September 2022 to the present day, as evidenced by the hundreds of hours of video and audio recordings in plaintiff's possession. The defendants, Sean Combs, Justin Combs, Christina Karam, his assistant, and staff all orchestrated, participated, managed, and executed the RICO enterprise by purchasing and distributing ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms by purchase and distributing firearms by requiring the solicitation of work encounters with prostitutes as workers and minors, and by forcing artists, creative musicians, and musicians to utilize their talents and labor to produce music and other tangible goods and services without compensation. The RICO enterprise has functioned as a continuing unit and maintain an assertable structure separate and distant from the pattern of racketeering activity. The enterprise was categorized by the defendant's pattern of false representation and omissions made by defendant Sean Combs, Justice Combs, Christina Karam, and other current and former members of the defendant association, associates, and staffs to defendants, artists, creatives, musicians, and producers. These false representations and omissions were designed to induce defendants, artists, creatives, musicians, and producers to utilize their talents and labors to produce music and other tangible goods and services without compensation, as well as the solicitation of sexual encounters with prostitutes, workers, and minors, and the purchasing and distribution of illegal firearms and drugs. As part of this scheme, the defendants required their artists, creatives, musicians, and producers to visit strip clubs wearing exclusive authentic Bad Boy merchandise and to use the name and reputation of Mr. Combs to solicit workers and prostitutes. Additionally, Mr. Combs used the prospect of winning Grammy Awards, purchasing $20 million homes, participating in future projects, making $250,000 cash payments, meeting influential music industry executives such as defendant Lucian, Charles Grain, Ethiopian Hatamuriam. This pattern of false representation with disseminated to artists, creatives, musicians, and producers who reside in California, Florida, New York, and around the country by defendant based in California and New York under the directions and on behalf of defendant in New York. The dissemination typically used interstate telephone wires, social media messaging, and electronic mail. The true nature of the defendant's scheme was left undisclosed, was omitted, and or was affirmatively misrepresented, all to fraudulently increase defendants' profits, at least some of which were used to expand the enterprise, causing further injury to plaintiffs Jones and other unwitting artists, creators, musicians, and producers. The defendant profited from the enterprise, and plaintiff Jones suffered because the enterprise diminished plaintiff Jones' finances due to 13 months of non-payment and diminished plaintiff Jones' health through consistent drugging and forced encounters with prostitutes and workers. The defendant used the proceeds from this scheme to advance the scheme by funding and operating their marketing machine, including through the use of the mail, social media, word of mouth, and interstate wires to sell the illusion that Mr. Combs was serious about the talents and skills of the artists, creators, musicians, and producers and wanted to use those skills to make music when nothing could be further from the truth. Defendants provided their artists, creators, musicians, and producers with the misrepresentation information, including via email, all over interstate wire lines, communication systems, and obtaining free labor. That's why I said this is going to turn into forced labor in a minute, y'all. They're going to add that. The distribution of drugs and firearms, as well as prostitution, workers, and minors. The defendant obtained revenue via wire transfer, documents, and banking transactions that were exchanged via electronics means over interstate wires, thereby growing the enterprise and cause further injury to plaintiff Jones and described throughout. This is a big case because now they're going to say that he was doing stuff through, well, they're already saying interstate and commerce, but through wire transferring too. So that's another federal case, okay? Oh, he threw. If they could prove all this, he threw. The defendant's scheme was reasonably calculated to deceive plaintiff Jones, artist, creative, musician, and producer of ordinary prudence and comprehension through the executive of their complex, an illegal scheme to misrepresent the effectiveness of soliciting prostitutes, workers, and minors, and distributing drugs and guns that did not, would not, and could not lead to securing Grammy Awards, purchasing 20 million homes, participating on future projects, $250,000 cash payments, and meeting influential music industry executives such as defendants Lucian, Charles Grange, and Ethiopia. Plaintiff Jones would not have lived with Mr. Combs for 13 months, missing birthdays, holidays, and family events, but for the illegal racketeering scheme operated by the defendant. The defendant each had the specific intent to participate in the overall RICO enterprise and the scheme to defraud plaintiff Jones, and each participated in the enterprise as follows. The defendant Lucian, Charles Grange, Ethiopia, Combs, Global, Motown Records, Love Records, Universal Music Group, and Control, excuse me, and participated in the activities of the enterprise in a variety of ways set forth herein, including but not limited to developing and marketing scores of writing camps and listening parties, such as there are marketing to innocent assuming artists, creators, musicians, and producers who are vulnerable and in seek of opportunity to work and share their craft. Throughout the relevant period, the defendant Lucian, Charles Grant, Ethiopia, Combs, Motown, Love, and Universal Music Group oversaw the activities of the defendant Sean Combs, Justin Combs, Christina Coran, and other current and former employees of the defendant associate and staff, collectively, individually defendants. Defendants Lucian, Charles Grange, Ethiopia, Global, Mobile, Motown Records, Love Records, and Universal Music Group has an ethical obligation as respondent superior to supervise the actions and activities of the individual defendants. The defendants Lucian, Charles Grange, Ethiopia, Combs, Global, Motown Records, Love, and all of those people that I named, Universal Music Group, failed miserably to do so. Individuals and defendants relied on the mail, email, social media, and the telephone to distribute advertisement to secure artists, creators, musicians, and producers whom they would promise Grammy Awards, purchasing $20 million homes, participating on future projects, $250,000 cash payments, and meeting powerful music industry executives such as defendant Lucian Charles, Ethiopian. These advertisements originated from and were sent from the defendant Lucian Charles Grain, Ethiopia, Combs, Motown Records, Love Records, Universal Music Group offices in the state of New York to consumers in New York and around the country, relying on the mail, email, social media messengers, and telephone to distribute, and interstate wires to disseminate the misleading information described herein, as well as to receive profits from the artists, creatives, musicians, and producers. In connection with the defendant acting from New York, these defendants used the mail and interstate wires to solicit plaintiff Jones and artists, creators, musicians, and producers, and to use plaintiff Jones and the artists, creative musicians, and producers to utilize their talents and labor to produce music and other tangible goods and services without compensation, as well as the solicitation of sexual encounters with prostitutes, as workers, and minors, and the purchasing and distribution of illegal firearms and drugs. Each of these acts was undertaken with the knowledge and approval of all other defendants in furtherance of the goals of their conspiracy. So the defendant Lucian, Charles Grange, Ethiopia, Combs, Global, Motown Records, Love Records, Universal Group, directs, controls, and participate in the activities of the enterprise in a variety of ways as set forth herein, including as the employer, parent company, sponsor, and respondent superior of the defendant Sean Combs, Justin Combs, Christina, and other current and former members of the defendants associations and staff throughout the relevant period of the defendants Lucian and all the other music groups, Universal Music Group, oversaw the marketing and the soliciting of potential artists, creatives, musicians, and producers from their headquarters in New York, California, and Florida to consumers in New York, California, and Florida, and around the country, relying on the mail, email, social media, text messages, and WhatsApp. Oh my, they got a lot of evidence. messages to distribute interstate wires to disseminate the misleading information described herein, as well as to receive profits from the artists, creators, musicians, and producers from their forced solicitation of S workers. So while they were doing the forced labor with the S workers and the soliciting of S encounters with prostitutes, S workers, and minors, and purchasing and distributing of illegal firearm and drugs, each of these acts was undertaken with the knowledge and approval of all the defendants in furtherance of the goals of the conspiracy. So they were all willing participants as long as they thought they were going to get something out of this. Robin Greenhill, the accountant, would ensure the wiring, funds transferred, or cash payments to S workers. Frankie Santella, Moy Buon, Brendan, Paul, and KK would also be responsible for ensuring. He telling it all, y'all. Payment to sex workers in cash. Young Miami, Jade, and Daphne Joy were paid a monthly fee to work as Mr. Combs' S workers and received payment via wire transfer from Robin Greenhill, which outlined defendant's ongoing criminal operation. During the 10-year proceedings, the filings of this action, and the present, all defendants did cooperate jointly and severely in the commissions of 3 or more of the predicate acts that are itemized in 18 U.S.C. 1961 A and B in violation of 18 U.S. 1962 D as described in this complaint, beginning at an exact date unknown to plaintiff but within 10 years preceding the filings of this action. The defendant have knowingly, willingly, and unlawfully participated in a pattern of racketeering activity that continues to this day. So he was basically saying that this stuff is still happening to this day. And all this time that all these accusations is going on, Puffy's still saving it out and still trying to take that. Okay? I'm just saying. This is crazy. At some point, when do you just let it go and walk away? When your name was out there and you have to give up all your shares and revote and all that other stuff, you supposed to have been walked away. But they say greed will prison you. All right. So these acts set below racketeering acts had the same pattern and purpose to defraud plaintiff for the benefit of the defendants. Each racketeering act involved the same or similar methods of commissions and participants without the repeated predicate acts, the ability to conduct their fraud using the mail and telecommunications wires and the money laundering. The defendant business would not have succeeded. So he's saying that he would have been broke had he not been committing all these federal crimes. Okay, that's what they're saying. Let's see. So the separate racketeering acts all allow each other in that way, in that they were part of concerted actions by defendants to use the endorsement and channels of the enterprise and operate their businesses to fraudulently induce plaintiff Jones and the artists, creators, musicians, and producers to utilize their talents. So basically, they used Jones and anybody else that could have possibly been a musician, an artist, a producer, a creator. They used them with fraudulent promises that they was not going to keep, just to get them to utilize their talent for their satisfaction, for their gratification, so that Puffy could benefit from it, and all the people he's associated to that's named in this could benefit from all of these fraudulent acts. They used Jones for his creativity and to produce all those songs that he did get a chance to get produced on that Love album, and he got nothing out of it. It was only offered $29,000 and didn't want to even settle him $50,000, which is still a small portion when you're talking about billions of dollars. Okay, so I'm just kind of skipping through this at this point because we're going to be reading the same thing over and over. So the defendants committed multiple acts of mail fraud and violation of 18 U.S.C. 1341 in furtherance of the enterprise. The defendant voluntarily and intentionally devised and participated in a scheme to defraud plaintiffs out of money. So they saying that these people, including Sean Puffy Combs, had defrauded for surely Jones and could possibly be others, I'm sure, because we heard the similar situation when it came to Cassie. He did the same thing to her. Remember, he blackballed her and shut her down and basically sold her dreams that wasn't going to come true. Okay? Hold on, you guys. Hello? Yeah, I'm on my live. Yeah, we did. Okay. All right, sorry, y'all. And so, let me see. So, defendants use the mail. Okay, so for the purpose of executing the fraudulent scheme herein, specifically, defendants agreed to each of the acts of mail fraud described throughout this complaint. In addition, defendants agreed to rely on the mail to secure wire fraud, cash payments from purchasers of the illegal firearms and drug. Defendants require others to sell and distribute. In furtherance of and for purposes of executing the above described fraudulent and illegal course of conduct and scheme to defraud the defendants either individually or in combination with themselves, use and cause to be used the U.S. mail by both placing and causing to be placed cash letters, marketing material, advertisement agreements, and other matters in de- deposit wait deposit dep, depositories, and by removing or causing to be removed letters and other mailable matters from depositories in violation of the mail fraud statute 18 USC 1341. The defendant could not have furthered their fraud without the use of the mail. For example, the defendant sought to acquire wire transfer, cash payments, and utilize their talents and labor to produce music and other tangible goods and services without compensation. The defendant also required the mail distribute misleading advertisements to various states, including New York, for the reasons the use of mail to conduct fraudulent activity was necessary and inevitable. The defendants committing multiple acts of wire fraud in violations of 18 U.S.C. 1343 in furtherance of the enterprise. The defendant voluntarily and intentionally devised and participated in a scheme to defraud plaintiff out of money in reliance on the mail. Defendants committed these acts with the intent to defraud Plaintiff Jones and the artists, creatives, musicians, and producers. Specifically, defendants agreed to each of the acts of wire fraud described throughout this complaint. In addition, defendants agreed to rely on interstate wires to disseminate funds and to submit payment to S workers and prostitutes, as well as to transfer payments for the distribution and procurement of drugs and guns. Defendants illegal acquired wire transfers, money transfers, credit cards, and bank cards via search engines and other online platforms to further their collective goal furthering their RICO enterprise. The defendants knew that these online purchases were illegally made. Additionally, the defendants agreed that the defendants should facilitate these fraudulent purchases over interstate wires in furtherance of the fraud, as workers and prostitutes nationwide have received payments from the defendant. In furtherance and for purpose of executing the above described fraudulent and illegal course of conduct and scheme of artifice to defraud defendants either individually or in combination with themselves, use or cause to be used interstate wire communication to transmit or disseminate false, fraudulent, and misleading communication and information in violation of the wire fraud statute 18 USC 1343. The defendants should not have furthered their fraud without the ability to use telecommunications to share information with clients and retailers nationwide, because defendants needed to communicate with clients and retailers around the country. The use of interstate telecommunication wires to conduct the fraudulent activity was necessary and inevitable. The plaintiffs has been damaged in their business property because the defendant violated 18 U.S.C. 1962 A, C, and D, and therefore here is entitled to recover the damage and other remedies enumerated therein. Defendants' acts or omissions were actuated by actual malice and or willful and wanting disregard for the consequences suffered by the plaintiff and or with knowledge of a high degree of probability of harm to the plaintiff, reckless indifference, and to the consequences of their acts or omissions. Compensatory damages alone will be insufficient to deter such conduct in the future. There needs to be a criminal referral to the United States Justice Department as well as the state's Attorney General office, whereof plaintiffs request that the court issue an order and grant judgment to the plaintiffs follows. So he was not only just asking for compensation damages alone because he felt it would be insufficient, but he was also asking that a criminal investigation be put together. And that's exactly what we're seeing played out. And even the same thing when it comes to Cassie. She's going to be a part of this investigation because she's the one who came out with this bombshell from the start. So it's real heavy, y'all, and it's so much more to read. So it's just breaking down all the complaints that he has. So the third cause of action, California bystanders negligent infliction of emotional distress is what he's complaining of. Also, fourth cause of action, the assault against Jane Doe 1, Young Miami's cousin. Also, the fifth act of action, which is the premises liability for the SA committee for Jane Doe and 1, Young Miami's cousin against Mr. Combs. So this is a lot, that he had. In 7 action, this is the Trafficking and Victims Protection Act. It's just so many of them, and it's so much more to really read and break down. Let me see. Ninth cause of action, aiding, abetting, and inducing a S trafficking venture in violation of the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, 18 U.S.C. 2 1591 A1 and 2 1595 against the defendants. And then they name, all the people: Lucian, Ethiopia, Motown, Love Records, and Universal, for all these accusations. And so again, what we seeing play out is pretty much, and then he has a 11th cause of action, which is the SA against Cone Naid, and another one is the 12th action. Wow, he has. I'm telling you, this is definitely a RICO beginnings, and we just have to see how this plays itself out in the end. Let's see what the conclusion is when it comes to all this reading. So 15, cause of action, obstruction of the enforcement of the Trafficking Victim Protection. So yeah, they as much as this is just a complaint for like civil, this is also criminal because of the accusations behind all of this stuff is criminal. So this is a prayer for relief. The plaintiffs pray that the court enter the judgment in her favor and against the defendants. Contain the following relief: a declaratory judgment that the actions, conduct, and practice of the defendants complained of herein violate the laws of the state of New York, an award of damages against the defendant in an amount to be determined at trial. They're taking this to trial, plus prejudgment interest to compensate plaintiffs for all monetary and or economic damages, including but not limited to loss of past and future income, wages, compensation, seniority, and other benefits of employment. An award of damages against the defendant in an amount to be determined at trial, plus prejudgment interest, compensate plaintiff for all non-monetary and or compensatory damages, including but not limited to compensate for her mental anguish, humiliation, embarrassment, stress, anxiety, emotional pain, and suffering, and emotional distress. An award of punitive damages is in amount to be determined at trial. Prejudgment interest on all amounts due. An award of costs that plaintiff has incurred in this action, including but not limited to expert witness fees, as well as plaintiff's reasonable attorney fees and costs to the fullest extent permitted by law, and such others, and further relief as the court may deem just and proper. Plaintiff hereby demands a trial by jury on all issues of fact and damage stated herein. And this was dated back in February 26th this year. And then there's this preservation notice, electronic stored information. And demands for insurance coverage. Demands for a complete copy of their applicable insurance policies. Wow, it's just so much, y'all. It really is a lot, but just to sum it all up, yeah, it's. Let me get into the comment section. Let's see what y'all saying. Let me go back up some to where I remember. Okay, let's see. All right, so we're gonna start here. Okay, so we was guessing who could the people be. Gemini said he'll take a wild guess. Meek Mill and Usher, because it's an R&B and a rapper. So it's just other people is named in this, you know. Definitely a lot. Rachel thinks it's Usher. Okay, it is. I think it's Usher too. A lot of people saying Usher. Then I was hearing Justin Bieber too. So let's not forget about Justin Bieber. But it could possibly be Usher, Justin Bieber, but it's one of them R&B artists. So she said, Darlene said, I think it's both. Okay, y'all said the son. Y'all think it's the son did it, the shooting. Okay, let's go back, Darlene. Yeah, you right, both. Okay, Sarah Linda said, while Rod telling all this, where is G? Baby G probably in protected custody somewhere. He's scared to death. He didn't got shot. He gonna come out during trial. He gonna be the star witness, allegedly. This man is very sick. I mean, to read his complaints, it just does not sound far fetched to me. Darlene said, laugh out loud. LaShandria, y'all was laughing at something I must have said. Darlene said, the man is dangerous. Yes, he is. I think he was taught at a young age by C. Davis. So a lot of people saying, I don't know. Damn, Diddy, damn. No, for real. Stevie J produced a lot for Bad Boys and other artists. Okay, Rachel thinks it's Usher. You can get away with something for so long, and the end it will catch up with you. And it's only catching up with him because he didn't know when to end it. The game would have stopped the moment he stopped playing, but because he kept going, you know, that's what that greed does. It imprisons you, and then it's a rush when you're getting away with this shit. Especially you getting away with it and you ain't getting caught. You know, you just keep on keeping on and keep on going until this happens to you. And this is the problem. It looked like he could have possibly gotten away with a lot of this stuff, but he kept thinking he was Mr. Untouchable. And that's what happens to Mr. Untouchable. They eventually get caught and touched. Okay. Money and power can make you do the unthinkable. Yeah, and if you got to do all that to get it, how about I don't want it? I just want to be able to continue take care of my family and survive how we surviving out here. We ain't got to rob Paul to pay Peter. Okay. Um, Let me see. These people keep saying they were forced. If you didn't like what was going on, why didn't they leave? Because he was hoping on that promise that he was going to get that producers award. He thought he was going to get the producers award. And that's what happens in these situations. You know, they only see the promise. They don't realize everything they doing criminal to get to that promise, you know. So he's responsible for his actions. But see, what he doing is taking a deal and turning, you know, state witness to take down him because, you know, he definitely in his feelings the fact that he was not able to, you know, get what he was promised and he got basically got played shit, you know, and it's sad because when you see you getting played, what you gonna keep playing or you gonna walk away? It looked like he kept playing the game, and now you know he don't want to play no more because he sees that he can't win, and then he feeling threatened and stuff too. So let's see. Mr. Jones was on Instagram asking people to donate money towards the lawyer. Yes, he was because he was had a GoFundMe trying to get a lawyer to fight this case, and I don't know how much he collected, but I don't think he got near what he was trying to get. But maybe people might feel sorry for him now. Latonya Evans sounds like he held on to this blackmail Diddy. Yeah, this definitely was blackmail for sure. Mr. Jones want what Cassie got, that 30 million. Yeah, so he taking it a step further. But did he say, you know, he got evidence that proved that Jones is lying? It sounded like to me those 13 months that Jones was in the house, I'm gonna be honest, Jones was getting high. He allowed himself to get high. He allowed himself to be used. So now he's trying to get ahead of this and turn on Diddy when he, in my opinion, he was definitely a willing participant. Hey Trick, I see you in the building. What's good, bruh? Long time no see. Definitely some craziness. She had sense enough to leave him alone behind all of that. Right. Some of this stuff has to be true, especially if Stevie J is in it. Jenny on the block is going to be subpoena, but um, I knew she had something to do with it because she left him alone behind that. Yes, I would agree that she walked away at that time, um, because look what was happening. Hey V, I see you, boo. Definitely, Let's see. Dang, if this is true, he's out cold. But I blame Gene Deal for going along with it. Okay, because Gene has exposed a lot too. That's straight up the facts right there. He definitely said that. Okay. Sarah Linda says blackmail. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it's like it's not only is it blackmail, but it's an opportunity. He's an opportunist right now because how all this stuff played out and how it came out. This turned into an opportunity for him, in my opinion. With all the officers that they used to raid his house, is going to trial. Oh yes. I believe Puff did the shooting of the female at the club. That girl know who shot her. Yeah, she was scared to come out and say something too, but now she may not be afraid, because it's like they have the information. They know when the stuff happened because they investigated at the time. Now she may flipped and said it didn't happen because she was intimidated, scared, or whatever. But now that he's being defamed and powerless, people willing to challenge him and go up for that challenge. And I think that's what we're seeing play out today. Nah, I think he had given Cassie money when she asked him and wouldn't pay her. And thank you to everybody that is hitting the like button. If you have yet to hit the like button, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn that post bell notification on and select all because you don't want to miss us when we come back and have these conversations and continue to talk about this. I remember hearing some rappers said they were scared to attend his parties. Yeah, yeah, definitely was some intimidation when it comes to his parties and stuff, because you hear what they saying. He don't like to be told no. Now that's a big problem when you can't accept no. I want to see if I could pull up something that I was looking at earlier. Let me see if I still have that window open. Think I do. I think I don't. I think it's right here. Okay, hold on. No, it got closed out. Let me see. Pull this. I want to show you guys something. Sierra said, and also he bringing up the strip clubs. Them girls are not going to go against Diddy, not the strippers because they out there. They're like the prostitutes of the modern prostitutes is stripping now. You go in the strip club, you pick up them dates along the night. You know what I'm saying? Like, ugh, young Miami's all up in this, and this is not good. And that's probably why JT wanted to go solo and separate herself. She knew eventually this stuff was gonna hit the fan, and she didn't want to have nothing to do with that. JT had a little bit more class than Miami. Miami looked like she'd do anything for a Klondike bar. She never changed her story. She always said Puffy shot her in the face. Oh, okay. But he paid others to say different. Got it. Okay, I thought she had took a payout. Okay, so she never changed her story, but somehow now it's coming back to bite him. All the stuff that he thought he got away with, he really didn't get away with it, and now it's here, to collect, and that's what karma does. It comes back to collect. Let me see if I can pull up. Let me see. Oh, what is that? Okay, and it did. Mm. Hey, Nene, I see you, boo. And R. Kelly, he actually called Whack 100. I don't know if y'all got a chance to hear that. He chimed in on a little bit about it. He kind of feel like, you know, he kind of just feel like, it could be propaganda. This could be, made up, but he don't know. He not really going into too much detail. But if y'all haven't got a chance to hear that, I advise y'all to go check out the Clubhouse. It came out a few hours ago, so um, y'all can check it out. But anyway, it was just a clip that I was gonna share with y'all of I think I seen it on Hollywood Unlocked. Let's see. It was when Puffy and them was all at that they were all at that brunch, and Meek Mills and them was all there, and somebody put that clip together and just shared that clip. So I'm just trying to see if I can pull it up right quick. I don't know if it was on here. It was on one of these outlets. Well, I think I see it. Hold on. Check the neighborhood because it could have been in the neighborhood. Yes, I listened. You heard it, Sarah Linda. Yeah, Kels called and he had a few words to say about it. And I don't know, y'all. I don't see the little clip I was looking for. But y'all seen that clip with Meek Mills, Jay Z, Puffy. Let me see if I can pull it up a different way, just to get the audio of it. Wait, no. This is turning into a real RICO. So that's the case right there. Hold on, let me see. Let me put Diddy, Jay Z. They probably stopped them brunches behind that stuff. Remember, they used to have them little brunches. I ain't heard nothing else about it. Here it go, right here. I found it. Maybe y'all can hear it what Diddy had to say.
2020, y'all. Yeah. And it's different than when it was.
Hold on. I want y'all to see his face, too. All right. Make sure y'all can see this. Okay, here we go. I'm going to turn my little background music back on. It's very important to play that during these times. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, they think it is Usher. Hold on, y'all. All right, I just wanted to put some music to the background. Okay, let's play this.
2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaires lunch. Yeah. You understand? Right. And we here together, and we're going to keep staying together. We getting tighter. You know what I'm saying? And united we stand. And ain't nothing else to us. Black excellence. You know?
I don't want to play that audio. So here's a little look behind the scenes of the people that was there. Look at him.
I see you, Tom. What up?
He happy. He made it up to the top. But look what he had to do to get there. And look what they doing to bring him down. The top ain't worth it if you got to go through all. And look how he look. He looked like he on a lot of drugs. He just looked like he was on a whole bunch of dope. You can see it in his face. I want to go back to the time when he said it's 2020. Let's see. He's like, it's 2020. Look at his eye about to pop out his head. He on
when it was 2016. It's different than
look.
It's 2020, y'all.
Yeah. Listen.
And it's 2020, y'all.
He said it's 2020,
and it's
y'all.
different than
it's different.
when it was 2016.
He telling on himself right here. If y'all decode what he's saying, he telling on himself. He's saying it's 2020, y'all. And it's 4 years ago. He like, it's different than what it was back in 2016. Like how they probably was able to get away with stuff. You know what I mean? And he just kept playing with that fire. He just kept playing with that fire. Didn't think he was going to get caught or burned because he felt like he had all these people on his team. You know what I'm saying? Look how Jay-Z looking. He looking like he don't want to be there.
You know, the game has been elevated.
Look, the game is elevated.
As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire's lunch.
He said there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire's lunch. Wow.
Right.
Look how he look, real bad.
And we're going to keep staying together. We getting tighter.
He said we here together. We're going to keep. Them people about to flip. Them people fit to flip on him. What is he talking about? They is fit to turn on Diddy. Diddy ain't about to have them people getting tighter. That shit about to get weak.
You know what I'm saying? And united we stand. And ain't nothing else. To us. Black excellence.
Is that Dave Chappelle? That ain't Dave Chappelle. Let me turn that music off. Who is that? I'm trying to see who the people is that's there, because a lot of these people better be worried. They think they just there having fun at an innocent event, not knowing they all being federally investigated. And he was just so happy. Look at the white man like, yeah, smile for the camera. Taking your black ass down. I gotta run this again, y'all. I gotta run this one more again. And he looking a little worried. Let me turn the audio up on this again.
It's 2020, y'all. Yeah. And it's different than when it was 2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire's lunch.
He ain't paying no attention to what he's saying. We here together. He hear him, but he don't feel him.
We gonna keep staying together. We getting tighter. You know what I'm saying? And united
look, he talking
we
about
stand.
that's right. You just
and
agreed,
ain't nothing
nigga.
else. To us. Black excellence.
I want to see more because I know it's more footage out there. Gemini said, Hov like, nah, player. I'm good. Shit, Hov was just agreeing. He thinking this black excellent. He think they done something. They didn't hit the billionaire jackpot. You feel me? From black excellence to black silence. Gemini, you never fail me. Real talk though. Ooh, my goodness. Billionaires, huh? Yeah, okay. They about to go silent of the lamb on him. Let me see what other footage, because it was a lot of footage that they should have had. I think we did this one. Let's do this one. Players are in effect. Well, Jaguar Wright said Jay-Z made a lot of his money pushing weight. Ooh-wee. What he saying?
More wins. Yes, sir. Anybody else got anything else I forgot out?
Goddamn right, I got one. Yeah. I'll tell you what.
Kevin Hart.
This group of people, you're not motivated by what you see. I'm going to call you what I like to call. Yeah.
Kevin Hart out there though? That white man Diddy billionaire boyfriend. Ooh wee. I believe it. But look, what is Kevin Hart talking about?
That is just, you're a loser. Losers like to lose, winners win. Winners win because they surround themselves with winners. I'll be damned if I'm not around a bunch of fucking winners. Look around you, goddamn, and be inspired, be motivated, and ask yourself, do you want it? Because if you do, you get in rooms like this. That's
I need to hear that again. What Puffy said? I want to hear what he said. Who is he hugging? Is that Usher? And look at Usher still over there around them. Come on, Usher. Look at that's Usher. Who is that? Who is that? Tell me that's Usher. That's Usher. That's Babyface. Look at that's Usher, Babyface Raymond. Oh my goodness. He always got his arms around somebody. He hugging all on Usher like that. Look, Usher don't know no better. He just was groomed this way, so he grew into this lifestyle, man. At 13 years old, they took his little young innocence.
Together, putting it down, and all the new young kids, everybody doing their shit. Fuck that, the black man is God shit.
Look at 2 Chainz back there. 2 Chainz back there. These niggas was doing anything to get ahead. And when you say no, you got to go. My Lord have mercy, y'all. Let me see what else out there that we can scope through right quick. Yeah, I remember this video. That was the Rock Nation brunch they usually have every year before the Grammys. This year, they didn't have their annual brunch. Shit, that brunch is over. Usher is married now. Shit, that don't mean nothing. What that mean? Yeah. Usher married and Jay-Z married too. Ooh, these people out here doing the most. Let me see. See what else we can see. I remember when Beyonce pulled up at that brunch. Play their music. Turn this audio off. I just want to see what we can see. She said, "Hi, baby." And they say she be high as hell. He keep her doped up. Allegedly. I gotta go back to hear what Meek Mills is saying.
More family, more freedom, more ownership, more wins. Anybody else got anything else I forgot out?
Goddamn right, I got one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. If you're around this group of people, you're not motivated by what you
Oh, Kevin Hart, just be quiet. I need Kevin Hart to be quiet. Ain't none of them niggas leaders. They all a bunch of homo followers. Allegedly. Let's see. Is that it? I think that's about it, y'all. I just wanted to. Oh, no, that ain't it. Hold on, I gotta check all the traps before we get up out of here. I gotta make sure there's no new reportings, because anything is happening while I'm doing this. Something could be going down. Let me check Instagram, Twitter, and all social sites. Make sure there's nothing happening that I don't know about. Joe Budden gives his take on the Diddy Homeland Security at your house. You did something. This is about to get much worse. Okay, so Joe Budden, he just chimed in, y'all, about an hour ago. Let me see. I gotta watch the Shannon Sharp Offset thing to see what he's talking about. Okay, let's see. Okay, hold on. Okay, so nothing new on Instagram as of yet. Let me go check the media. And y'all can email me if something pop up. Y'all can always email me. Let me just put in here. See anything else popped up. Yeah, that's the baby girl. She all over the place. She about to be 2 this year. She doing everything. She climbing, jumping, stomping. She set it off. Okay, let's see what's going on. Feds search Sean Diddy Combs properties as a part of the sex trafficking probe. Let's see, is there any new news? 4 hours ago, Sean Diddy Combs would not disclose antics with Justin Bieber and resurfaced. Okay, former Syracuse basketball player arrested accused of being a drug mule. Uh-oh. Hold on. 58 minutes ago, a former Syracuse guard, Brendan Paul, arrested, previously accused of, hold on, let me tap on this. Previously accused of being a mule for Sean Diddy Combs. Hold on, let's see what this all about, y'all. An earlier version of this article using information from a wire service used a photo that was not Brendan Paul. We have updated the story and apologized for the error. So, let me see. This is the right person. So, editor's note. Okay, so from Sakar guard, Brendan Paul was arrested Monday and issued. Hold on. Hold on. You say hi? Okay, let's see. I'm not trying to. Okay, so Paul was described in a federal lawsuit filed on February as a mule for rapper Sean Diddy Combs. The lawsuit filed by Rodney Lil Rod Jones accuses Combs of sexually abusing men and women and mentioned Paul as an assistant and a confidant to Combs. Paul allegedly worked as Mr. Combs' mule. He requires and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and guns, according to the lawsuit. The arrest came while federal agents were raiding Combs' properties in Los Angeles and Miami and a reported trafficking probe. Law enforcement officials told the Associated Press Paul's attorneys Brian Bieber told the athlete, "We do not plan on trying this case in the media. All issues will be dealt with in court." Combs denied the assault allegations in a December statement, saying, "I did not do any of the awful things being alleged." According to the Miami Herald, Paul arrest Monday came at Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport and was not related to the federal raid involving Combs. Paul posted a $2,500 bond and will first appear in court on April 24th. Paul was a walk-on at Syracuse and played in 16 games, scoring 3 points across 17 minutes of actions between 2018 and 2020. He then played 2 seasons at Fairmont State WV, wearing in 35 games from 2020 to 2020. Paul's name is spelled as Brendan Paul in police report, but mugshot photos and the recorded date of birth align with the 25-year Ohio native. Okay, so they made that correction. Okay, let's see what else is going on. So that's just one of the things. They saying that it's unrelated. Him being arrested at the airport is unrelated to the two raids. But I still, in my opinion, believe in the differ because it just seems like the fact how that happened at the same time the house was being raided, he was being detained at the airport, and they found drugs. Okay, so I don't know. This is getting realer. Let's see. And the only thing else I see that's added in this is that they're talking about Jennifer Lopez, J Lo. They added her in all of this, and she was involved at the time that the shooting went down. That she brought the gun in, so she would have been an accessory to that crime. Um, you know, she would have been a co-conspirator. So could the rapper they be talking about be Meek Mills, and then the R&B singer be um, Usher or Justin Bieber? I'm just asking a question. because it seemed like it's I don't know, maybe one of them. Let me see. Anything else? New details in the Diddy S trafficking pro agencies. Okay, so we know that they collected some electronics. Um, I think I was able to share some of that yesterday. They ramshacked that house, but a lot of people say his house was just nasty anyway. So they just added to the nastiness. Wow, how time flies. Oh, thank you. If SJ name was brought up, it's some truth to this ball of chain of accusations. I honestly, I do believe a lot of this stuff. It's just, it's too much preponderance for me. You know, to me, it's almost clean cut, like a slam dunk. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of if they're able to get any evidence out of the stuff that they collected from that raid. And we won't know all of it until it play out, because they said they're not going to play it out in the public. It's going to play out in court, as it should. The guy who was arrested at the airport, he goes to court April, so you know that's coming up. Well, he goes towards the end of April, because they say April 24th, so that's at the end of the month practically. To find out about the mule and the drugs or whatever he had on him at the airport. Federal agents outside the Star Island mansion, Sean Diddy Combs, on Monday, March 25th, 2024, in Miami Beach, Florida. Federal agents raided his one Star Island drive home and his home in Los Angeles. The raids follow a suit by his ex-producer alleging Diddy was engaged in a widespread and dangerous criminal trafficking organization. Four people in Diddy's entourage were cuffed by federal agents after they raided his Miami Beach mansion on Monday. Another Diddy associate was busted on drug charges at the Opelika airport, and the rap mogul was questioned by agents at the airport before a plane linked to him flew to a Caribbean island. The agents ultimately let the four go, but Miami-Dade police arrested a man at the Miami Opelika Executive Airport on Monday after who was described as Diddy's mule in a lawsuit against the music producer. At the same airport, federal agents seized Diddy's phone and questioned him before clearing him to fly with family and friends to Antigua and Barbuda, a twin island Caribbean nation just east of Puerto Rico, on Tuesday morning. The plane was at VC Bird International Airport in Antigua and Barbuda, but there is no evidence that Diddy landed in Antigua and Barbuda. A government official on the island told the Herald Antigua and Barbuda has an extradition treaty with the United States, the officials noted. The incident follows Monday's raids by Homeland Security investigations agents at Diddy's mansions on Star Island in Miami Beach and in Los Angeles, part of an ongoing trafficking investigation into the rap mogul. A source familiar with the Miami Beach raid told the Herald that Diddy, whose real name is Sean Combs, and his entourage arrived in Miami over the weekend and were here when federal agents simultaneously searched his homes on Star Island and in Los Angeles. The feds were concerned that Diddy 54 would destroy evidence, prompting the secretly coordinated raids, the source said. The raids came a month after a lawsuit filed by music producer Ronnie Little Rod Jones accused Diddy of being the leader of a criminal enterprise that could qualify as a widespread and dangerous criminal as trafficking organization. On Monday, Jones amended the complaint filed in New York federal courts to name the actor Cuba Gooding Jr. as a co-defendant. In a statement to the Herald Tuesday evening, attorney Aaron Dyer, who is representing Diddy, slammed the raid as a gross overuse of military-level force. He also said Diddy was never detained and spoke to and cooperated with authorities. This unprecedented ambush, paired with an advanced coordinated media presence, leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits, Dyer said. There has been no finding of criminal or civil liability with any of these allegations. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name. The swarms of federal agents largely disappeared from Star Island Tuesday, and life returned to normal for the Tony neighborhood. except for the media throng lined up by Diddy's compound on Star Island. The hip hop mogul owns 2 homes there, one Star Island Drive, which Diddy bought from 2 other Miami luminaries, Gloria and Emilio Estefan, for $35 million in 2021, and 2 Star Island Drive, the home federal agents raided on Monday. A woman visiting her friend on Star Island told the Herald Tuesday morning that she witnessed agents leaving Diddy's compound with several people in handcuffs. She also said landscapers working on top of palm trees told her they had seen a tank ramming the custom-made 15 feet tall gate at the home. Homeland Security investigations agents from Miami and New York searched the Star Island mansions from 3:30 p.m. until the midnight. The home appeared as if no one lived in it. The sources familiar with the raid said agencies' electronics found inside, and 4 of Diddy's staffers were detained, handcuffed, and questioned. According to the source, they were let go. Prosecutors from the Federal Southern District of New York, where Jones filed the lawsuit and heading the S trafficking investigation, Jones is one of their key witnesses. A source with knowledge of the investigation told the Miami Herald, "I figured he would be a key witness because this is his complaint." Several people, including singer Cassie, came forward before the search warrant was executed. The source said the witness information helped agents establish probable cause to obtain the warrant. So Cassie is in on this too, y'all. She ain't just walked away after she got paid. Cassie, whose legal name is Cassandra Elizabeth Ventura, is one of 4 women who have accused Diddy of assault in separate lawsuits over the past 5 months. In the filing, Cassie says Diddy arred her and made her have S with male S workers while they were dating. Diddy settled that lawsuit almost immediately after it was filed in November in New York. One of Diddy's alleged associates, Brendan Paul, 25, of Chagrin Falls, Ohio, was arrested by Miami-Dade police at the Opa-locka airport at 4:30 Monday afternoon. He was charged with possession of cocaine and suspected marijuana-laced candy. He posted a $2,500 bond and got out of the Miami-Dade County Jail. He is due to make his first court appearance on April 24th. A law enforcement source said Miami-Dade police working a different detail at the airport were asked to take a look at the plane linked to Diddy by Homeland Security investigation agents. Once inside the aircraft, the source said they found the drugs in Paul's possession. Paul is described in Jones' lawsuit as Diddy's mule. Court records show Jones also alleges that Paul distributes drugs and weapons and pays S workers for the mogul. Outside Diddy's compound Tuesday morning, drivers of the 2 black SUVs with tinted windows and Mercedes-Benz and Cadillac Escalades were walking in and out of one of Diddy's mansions through a partially open 15 feet tall gate that was damaged. The 2 men were wearing black rain jackets and black surgical masks. Miami Beach police officers were patrolling the gated neighborhood home in the Estefans and other luminaries. A white Range Rover with a reality company sign was also parked outside the Star Island mansion, and indications that Diddy might be considering selling his Star Island mansion, one of 2 he owns on the island, the second to Star Island Drive, a neighbor who lives across the island told the Miami Herald Monday night there are frequent parties at the mansion and people coming and going at all hours. There are cars parked along the exclusive island single palm lined road. Okay, so people is talking and observing. At the Booby Trap on the river at 24/7 Strip Club, it was business as usual on Tuesday afternoon. Few men were inside the club, which sits on the Miami River at 3615 and W.S. Rivers Drive. In his lawsuit, Jones alleges that Diddy forced him to invite S workers from Booby Trap to Diddy Star Island home. The filings The workers, the filing states, were accustomed to servicing the mogul. A source familiar with the club's operation told the Herald Tuesday that VIPs often show up at the club, spending thousands of dollars in a couple of hours. When asked if Diddy has frequented the club, he said all of them have partied there. Miami Herald staffer writes Jacqueline Charles, Joey Fletcher, and Charles Rabin contributed to this particular article that I just read to you guys. So, like I said, it's a preponderance amount of information. We just have to see what evidence starts to come out as things continue to unravel in this here as trafficking RICO case against Diddy. Now, let me see any more comments in the comment section. Okay, let's see. Okay, they are going to protect Jenny on the block. Okay. Bet they try to protect Jenny on the block. Watch and see. Did they find anything during the 2 raids? Was his mother mentioned in any of this mess? No, they didn't mention. Uh-oh. Come here, baby. Give me that. What are you doing? She's just doing anything. No, they didn't mention his mom, and what they found was some electronics. I saw them bringing out boxes of documents. I don't know what's in those documents, but we'll find out sooner rather than later because things is really continuously unraveling in this case each and every day. It's going to be continuous reporting on this because so much is happening. Up to the minute, and I feel like the moment I get off of social media, something else gonna pop up. I'll try to come back if I can. If not, we'll do another update tomorrow or as more becomes available. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure your bell notifications are turned on, and don't forget to subscribe and select all so that way you don't miss me when I come back and bring you guys more. Now I'm looking. Let me see. Remember when Tasha K said Young Miami was a worker for Diddy? Oh, people was bringing that up. So let's listen in to this. You, bitch, you gotta work. Okay, and I do not own the rights to none of this here. So this is a lot. Woman behind the scenes and let them enjoy the very fruits of your labor. So a lot of people spoke on this. A lot of people said Miami was a worker. It's only obvious that that's what she doing, because she winning stuff, those awards and stuff for her Carisha Please show, and she has not done more than a lot of these personalities that I've seen really do a lot. So y'all, like I said, just stay tuned. More stuff is continuously developing. And we'll continue to bring you guys updates as they become available. That is my time. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Again, if you did not get a chance to hit the like button on your way in, please do so on your way out. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn that post bell notification on and select all so you do not miss me, your girl Hollywood Next, when I come back and bring you guys yet another one. That is my time, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Piecez.